Cop my whip without copping rims and a body kit and my tennis darkened. Closest I'ma probably get to window shopping.
Bro, listen, if that wasn't even all of it, bro, like, Royce, I gotta ask you, y'all listen to the audio, right? But if y'all just see how Royce looked when he's rapping these bars, it looked like it came so easy. So easy to kill these rappers out here, Royce. What was going through your mind, bro? What was the process of coming up with some shit like that, bro? That was legendary.
You know what? It was like I had been talking to Just Incredible for a minute about doing L.A. Leakers. My album before that one, I didn't get a chance to make it over there. I can't even remember why, but that's my man though. So I just kind of wanted to make sure that I could get over there this time and just get him something. So I just kind of like stockpiled together like raps that I just kind of had, you know what I'm saying? And I just went in there trying to just get it done. You know what I mean? Like I had to go in there. I was in there for a couple hours, like doing multiple takes because my memory is shaky sometimes. You know what I mean? And I wanted it to be. I ain't wanna fumble no line, so I laid it probably. I was laying it for 3 hours. I probably laid it like 20 times. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to get it done and be correct. That's pretty much what I was thinking though.
Brother Royce, I'm from the D, brother, and I just want to say love to you, man. And I just wanted to, be on. I seen you. I had a room going, but I'm like, forget that. Let me tap in with the brother, man. And I really, and I ain't, I ain't trying to be on no. I don't want nothing. I just want to see if I can bless you with some real quick that I worked on a while back. That's like really exclusive. That I
Hey
feel like
man,
that you will see.
hey man, we gonna love to hear that record or whatever you about to get ready to play. But let's get finished with the Q&A first, and as soon as we get done with that, T Rose may open it up, and if Royce has some time, we can probably go ahead and get that in there. You cool with
Oh
that?
yeah, my bad, bro. Yeah, it was a little poem, but my bad. Yeah, I got you.
Oh no problem, bro. We'll definitely make some time if T Rose is cool with that, and if Royce is cool with that, and we'll go ahead and get that in. But go ahead, back to you, T Rose.
I'm definitely cool with it. Good to meet you, my Detroit brother.
Love, brother. Love.
Love.
No, facts. Appreciate you, bro. I definitely want you to go ahead and get that off for Royce. I just got a question just to open this Q&A up. Royce, you from Detroit, so I want to start from the beginning. Can you tell me what it's like growing up in Detroit as a youngin?
Mm, well, when I was like 8, 9 years old, maybe 10 years old, we had a break in. So I was living on 6 Mile in North Lawn, and then we had a break in, and then I moved to Oak Park, and I got the opportunity to grow up around black people, white people, and right near a Hasidic Jew neighborhood. That was the first time I seen a display of actual community that was like a community in solidarity. It was bizarre to look into me back then, but looking at it in retrospect it was one of the most amazing things I ever seen. You know what I'm saying? It's like a dream of mine to see our community like that, because it's like you can't call one of them can be hurt. You can't call the ambulance. They're not gonna get in your ambulance. They're not gonna go to your hospital. They're not gonna let doctors touch them. You know what I'm saying? Like they got their own churches, their own schools. They live in their own world, bro. That's why you'll never hear nothing about them catching COVID or being affected by none of the ill ways of the world. You know what I mean? It's almost like they exempt from just the ills that come from just being in a capitalist society. You know what I'm saying? So just growing up, I was basically an athlete, man. Real heavy into basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like I was I was boxing. My father got me into boxing early. My uncle was a pro fighter. So I did that. And that's pretty much it. As soon as I got out of high school, man, I went up to the hip hop shop. First person I seen in there was Elzai, Proof, Marshall. Um, I think Obi was in there. It was a couple dudes in there. And shit, I was hearing them niggas rap, and I realized I wasn't I wasn't as good as I thought I was. You know what I mean? They had this thing where they had like a circle, and you pass the mic around, and you gotta, if you end up with the mic, you gotta spit something. And if you don't get the crowd attention quick enough, the DJ put gong music on, and you gotta pass the mic. So I finally got up the courage to grab the mic. I started rapping, and I got gonged. I ain't never rapped there again, bro. The hip hop shop almost chewed my ass up and spit me out, man.
Damn.
Yeah, so it was a spot called the Ebony Showcase. The Ebony Showcase is where I kind of like developed my confidence at, because it was a different kind of setup. You know what I mean? You're not standing in surrounded by killers. You know what I'm saying? You standing on the stage, you sign a list, they call your name when your number is up, and then you go. You can perform a song, you could do you could do whatever you want to do, and it's not like all artists. So you know the people pretty much for the most part to show anybody love to go up there, long as they ain't ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So I just built my confidence up. I just got used to being in front of a crowd and shit, and then that's pretty much how I was birthed. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really start writing until like the ninth or 10th grade.
Okay. Um, for people that don't know about Detroit, can you tell people a little bit about the Detroit culture?
I mean, it's forever changing. You know what I mean? Like it's always evolving. But it's like it's see, we gotta wear the whole lineage and the whole legacy of Motown. You know, everything that Berry Gordy started. You know, he started it in Detroit with a $200 loan. You know, and he opened up a studio called Hitsville, and he went and found Diana Ross, Smokey Robinson, like all of the icons that y'all know today. You know, it just started out on some in the basement Detroit type shit. You know what I mean? And it grew from there. And it was like back then Detroit was real segregated. So like you couldn't even go from a black neighborhood to a white neighborhood and shop and like um cater to businesses and shit like that without getting a hard time. So black people pretty much just stayed in the black community, white people stayed in their community, and it kind of forced black people to just start their own businesses, you know what I mean, and then just be more self-sufficient because they wasn't really allowed to integrate or correspond with the white people. And that's where Motown was birthed from. It was birthed from that. So Berry Gordy decided that he ain't want to do black music because black music was put into categories as it is today. Black music was considered R&B, and then white music was considered pop. So he was like, nah, we're not gonna do just black music. We're gonna do music for all people. And he didn't put none of their faces on the cover of none of the records. And he grew it like that. And then he eventually ended up moving it out to California and shit. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that that he decided he wasn't gonna make black music? It was just gonna be
Nah,
music for
That's
everybody.
definitely
I
news to
didn't know
me.
that.
Yeah. So so I got my own little theory on that, but I guess that'll be for another conversation. But that's basically what happened. So um it went out to LA, it blew up, of course, as y'all know. All of the artists blew up, all of them. Every single last one of them became superstars. And then eventually he sold Motown. And it became like the major label that y'all know of today. So Berry Gordy he kind of dropped off the scene after he became an old man. He sold his crib that's in Detroit. I think it's for sale right now. Sold his crib that's in Detroit. And then Detroit just went a long time without anything significant because all of the artists decided that they were going to be more global instead of like embracing Motown as a city. They just embraced it as a brand and a namesake, you know what I mean? But they embraced it in a worldwide kind of way, you know what I mean? Like in a everybody's included type of way, not in a like Detroit versus everybody type of way, you know what I mean? So Detroit went a long time without anything significant. There was like a representation of us. So we still always had a whole lot of shit going on, like Esham, like what is that music called? House music, all of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? The fast dance music, the booty music. That we had MC Breed and Flint. You know what I mean? And then everybody was kind of like making noise in their own different ways, but nobody really kind of like broke out like that. And back then, you had to have a record deal. Like at least we thought so. So M ended up getting on. M ended up lucking up and getting with Dre and getting on. And once he got on, he kind of kicked the door open, and everybody that I named from the hip hop shop, that whole generation, all of us got deals, so Detroit is kind of broken up as far as the hip hop scene. It's kind of broken up between the rap niggas and the street niggas. The street niggas that do that's in the streets, that was selling the dope and doing all of that shit and rapping about the shit and making classic records to play in the strip clubs everybody in the streets is bumping. They had their own little world, and then the hip hop niggas had our own little world. But then it was a few of us in each world that could kind of like exist in both worlds. It's cool with niggas on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So we always wonder how to bridge the gap between the two. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the hip hop side ended up getting on first. So years went by of just that being kind of like a representation of at least how the world views Detroit, especially with Marshall doing like the 8 Mile movie and all of that. Dilla doing everything that he did, everything that he did with Slum Village and all of that. So now all of the youngins that y'all hear, Vezo, Sada, Babyface Ray, GT, Peasy, all of them niggas, they represent the street side of Detroit. And the niggas that was doing it when we first got a deal, the Street Lords, Cheddar Boys, Rock Bottom, all of that shit is what Vezo and them was listening to growing up that inspired them. And now they're like a newer rendition of what they were doing back then. And it's just like shit. It's like everything coming full circle. You know what I mean? It's like everybody getting a shot. And Sean is he's like a hybrid of everything because he went to Cas Tech. That's like a school where you got to take a test to get into it and shit like that. He's real smart. You know what I mean? So he just embodied so many different facets of the city. And he always had visions of being a superstar. Like he wanted to be a superstar. So that's kind of what he did. You know what I mean? So we attacked him from really all angles.
Hey Royce, this is DJ Swag, man. I really appreciate you for being here. What's funny about this, and it's funny how how small this world is sometimes, and that's saying because we met on this app like around a time when it was like first starting out, and what I'm saying, you were a part of some rooms, and and some of the people being able to speak to you because you were some of the first, like I guess you would say, celebrity people to be on the app. People really got a chance to really, talk to you and realize that you stand behind a lot of the things that you rap about. You stand behind a lot of the things that you believe in. And you started talking about a lot at that time, that conversation, we were talking about your sobriety and talking about, how you were, going through some family dysfunctional things, how alcoholism played a part in your life. So for people listening, what did alcohol do to your life, and when was a change for you? When did it turn around for you? When did it start that new Royce, the 5'9", or feeling like I don't need alcohol no more? This is what I need.
Yeah, I mean, I just did that. I just did that thing that we do. Like when young black men, coming from an environment where it's just like we don't have really a rite of passage or nothing. We just pretty much trying to find ourselves. We searching. You know what I mean? Like we trying to figure out how to arrive at a place. So you throw me into the music business at 19 years old, which is also a whole nother search. You know what I mean? And I'm learning everything through trial and error. I'm making all of the worst mistakes that you can think of. And alcohol. Here's my theory on alcohol, bro. Alcohol is the greatest. It's the greatest magic trick that the devil has ever created. It's by far the worst shit that you could be addicted to. Worse than heroin, worse than crack, worse than everything. You know what I mean? Because at least when you're a crackhead, you just look like a crackhead. You know what I mean? When you an alcoholic, man, it's being marketed to you. It's being made to look cool on TV. You know what I mean? Like it don't put you all the way down. It actually makes you think that you can do things that you can't do, like drive. You know what I mean? Like I'd be totally fine not driving until I get drunk. Then I'd be like, fuck that, give me my keys. I'm driving. You know what I mean? Like it is not cool. It's not a good thing for somebody who's genetically predisposed to being an addict, so to speak. You know what I mean? My dad was an addict. His addiction was cocaine. You know what I mean? So, uh, I mean, it's kind of my big brother's alcoholic. It just kind of running the family. All my uncles was alcoholics. So, not even saying that like it's an excuse, but once I started going to therapy, I realized that it's a reason for everything. You know what I mean? Like we don't just pop out into the world and just pick up these habits like that. Sometimes we drinking to get away from shit that we don't even know that we trying to get away from. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, facts.
So it to answer your question about what did it do to my life, I mean it tried to fuck my life up. You know what I'm saying? Like it got in the way of all my critical thinking. You know what I mean? I found myself in a lot of situations that I knew I wouldn't have been in if I had been sober. Like, like a lot of beef and shit because I was just angry. I was angry because I felt like the industry did me wrong. So I would just, I was beefing with everybody. And it's like I know if I was sober, I would have been able to talk a lot of that shit through with whoever and get to a better place. You know what I mean? Like, and it would have prevented a lot of fucked up shit from happening. You know what I mean? And it's just like me knowing that that's what we do first when we that age. We expect niggas to hate on us. We expect niggas to be against us. So we already go into it. We go into the shit ready for that, ready to like defend whatever. You know what I mean? Like I came out, got my deal, and called myself the king of Detroit. You know what I mean? And I didn't have nobody around me to tell me how ridiculous that was. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So
right,
so it's just like I'm calling myself the king of Detroit, and I'm wondering what the fuck everybody's so upset about. You know what I mean? So it's like that's where mentorship. That's why I think mentorship is so important. So when you said, like I spread a lot of knowledge, I really try to, man. Like I try to be as open as I can and as transparent as I can with my experiences and shit without without giving it to the youngins like it's a horror story. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like it's too much of that going on. Like everybody's spooking the youngins, making them think that the record industry is the worst shit that they could be in. The record label just gonna come take advantage of you. Gonna take all your shit. You gonna take, you know what I mean? Like
right, right,
this
right,
shit
right.
is gonna be this. It's gonna be that. It don't have to be that at all if you got the information. You know what I mean? So I like feeling like every mistake that I made wasn't in vain as long as I could keep the next one that's coming behind me from making the same mistake and they can get that shot a little bit earlier than I got it. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a part of success now. You can't. The days of just getting on, becoming successful, taking your ball and going home. Nah, you can't do that no more. Like now you owe. That shit ain't free. It costs. You got to give it back. You know what I mean? Like you got to take the knowledge. You got to give it back. When we came into the game, the ones that came before us, they didn't embrace us. They didn't tell us nothing. They went against us. They want to, you know what I'm saying? Beef with us, battle with us, compete with us. They didn't like us. We went through all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'll be damned if I watch the youngest that come after me go through the same thing or even put me in that corny ass category ever. You know what I mean? So I just feel like it's a time now where the OGs just got to kind of wear it, live in it. You got to earn it. You can't just be called OG just because you up there in age. That shit come with a responsibility, just like Lil Homie come with a responsibility. And we gotta hold each other to a standard. You know what I mean? We gotta hold each other to a standard. We gotta try and figure out how to communicate with each other because all this separation and shit just based off of the kind of music that we make. What I learned in my journeys is we ain't all so different at all because the world just look at us all like niggas. They ain't throwing us all in these categories like how we do. Oh man, that nigga do that hip hop shit. Oh, that nigga do that street shit. Oh, he ain't a street nigga. Oh, he ain't. Fuck all that. That shit ain't even important. You know what I mean? Like it ain't important in the boardroom. All they care about in the boardroom is numbers, and none of them know no shit.
I'm
You know what I
I'm
mean?
I'm glad you brought up a couple of things as far as like the younger generation. I know something kind of happened recently where you call Lil Xan a Karen of hip hop. Why do you think he's a well? I know I'm probably being a little funny on this, but why do you think he's a white woman perceived as
Hey,
a
yo, can some of us
entitled
ask
or
some
does
other questions, yo?
huh?
Can we ask some other questions, yo?
Yeah, we can ask some other questions. But Royce, are you okay with answering that question?
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So why do you feel as though he's the Karen of hip hop? I know Sonny Digital agreed with you, but I do you put all the blame on him doing as though he's an addict? You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like artists have probably like a lot of pressure when it comes to being out there?
It's a lot of pressure, but of course, I don't put all the blame on him. When I said that, I was just making a joke. It was a joke slash observation because I found it kind of funny that that he was talking about stat. He was talking about his manager, and he was saying basically in so many words. I'm paraphrasing, but in so many words, he was on tour, but he wasn't gonna perform unless he had his drugs. So the man went and got his drugs for him. He did the drugs. He made the money. He spent the money. When the money was gone, he was like, "Oh man, I did drugs. You got me. You got me drugs. I should be able to bring you up on charges."
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Like I
right,
just
right,
thought that part was funny. It's like the way white people just think they can just bring people up on charges for
right.
anything. You know what I mean?
All
It's
right,
like
Royce. This
kind
is
of funny.
my last question to you, and I appreciate you being here once again. But the new album, the Allegory, probably one of the best albums out there. The Recording Academy called it the best rap album. What does that mean to you? And knowing as though allegory means like a story, a poem, a picture that can be interpreted to reveal hidden meaning, typically a moral or political one, or it can be a symbolic representation. Which do you feel you are, or why?
Well, the album, the focus of the album was to be all of those things. You ever heard of the Allegory of the Cave Theory by Plato? The book. You ever heard of that
Yeah,
book? Anybody
I've
read it?
heard of it. I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, one of my little homies put me up on that book, and I read it, and it inspired me to do basically the album. You know what I mean? Because the shit it delves into human programming first of all, and then also just perspective and how important and pertinent perspective is. You know what I mean? Like if I kept you in a cave all your life, and then I just brought you out of the cave, out of the darkness one day, and pointed to the sun and said, "This is the sun. This is beautiful. This is an ocean over here to your left. This is the real world." Until you're ready to accept that that's the real world, then it ain't really the real world because you can just go back in the cave and be where what you was used to doing. You already got used to being there. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't no different from slavery or anything else. You know what I mean? Like a lot of those slaves wasn't chained up to nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like they just accepted that shit as their reality. Some of them were born into it. You know what I mean? So when you born into something and you don't have anything else that you can even measure your life against as another option, then you may be fearful to even be free. You know what I mean? Because you'll be looking at the shit like, oh, it ain't so bad. I mean, come on, man. We 3/5 of human beings. So what? No big deal. White man superior. You know what I mean? And it just fucked us. It fucked us all up because
Facts.
all of that energy just translated from generation to generation. It just carried over from generation to generation.
All right, appreciate that, Royce. I appreciate that, man. I'm gonna pass it right back to T Rose.
And
T Rose, back
somebody
on
was
you, bro.
calling my phone. Yeah. So I mean, so that's basically what I was on when I was recording the album.
Hey,
No,
T
appreciate
Rose.
that.
Hey, y'all got a
Hold
question,
on,
T
hold on.
Rose, man.
Okay, hold on. 1 second, 1 second. I want to reset the room real quick. Welcome to Trollz Nation. Welcome if y'all new to the room. Please troll up top, hit the greenhouse, man. Follow all the moderators. Y'all see the share button. Go ahead and share this room, man. We got the legendary, the one of the best MCs in the game, period. Royce the Fine Nine in the building, man. I do want to say a couple things first because I know we got people in the room. I always appreciate y'all for supporting. But this is a Q&A, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know one of the rules we do have is a one mic rule. So we want to let everybody get their question out. You know what I mean? Royce, we already spoke. Bro said that he open to all questions. You know what I mean? He ain't ducking no smoke. So I do want to put that out there. So what I do before I pass it on to you, Iced Out, or I believe AK, I want to let the brother Mine, you know what I'm saying, to say his poem because I'm interested in hearing it too as well. Mine, you there, bro?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that, bro.
Oh,
Real
go
talk.
ahead, bro. Yes, sir. It's on you.
Hey, brother Royce. Before I say, I just want to say, like, when I was hearing you speak on like the new rappers and everything that's in the community, and that's facts. Like that's they taking over the like the Cash Kids, the Peasies, you know what I'm saying, the FMDZs. That's who
Mm-hmm.
taking over. But I wanted to try to like see how you felt about this, so I'm gonna go ahead and spit it and just get over with.
Okay.
It's a conversation between God and the devil.
Okay.
Like, Lord, this the devil speaking. I know it's been a while, God, but I've been thinking. Ever since I've betrayed your name, Lord, I've been weakened and wake up every morning sick because I was drinking. I'm trying to stay above water, but all my boats been sinking and bridges burning. I want to be a deacon and wake up early every weekend and scream hallelujah, probably while the pastor's preaching. A lot of people die by my hand, but you gave me this mind, Lord. That's why I steady sin. And I'm the devil, but I'm still a man. And let me quote what was said: if I confess Jesus and believe he was raised from the dead, I can have your love again. And I don't even got to beg, but instead believe in Jesus, son of man, deliver all from sin. I was a fool not to see and understand. Devil, this is God, and I hear you. I know that you cried it when I heard it. I dropped a tear too. I forgive you. I don't like looking in the past like a review. Yeah, I created all. But yeah, I gave Dr. King a mine and he ran with it and flew. Yeah, I gave Dr. King a mine too, and he ran with it and flew. Have faith in every single thing that I use, from the prophets in the world to the burning bushes too. I'll let you in heaven if you stop doing what you do, but you love your way so much it's almost impossible for you. Lord, this is the devil, so of course I'm the devil, so of course Dr. King did better than me. Not sitting down weak. Stop right there, devil. I know what you think. Ain't no explaining to me. I know everything, even the ones who painted the streets. You the reason why instead of me, little kids believe in luck and the jinx. So only in my son name will you come in peace. And if you don't know my son, you've been better off a seed that was tossed in the sea. That's it, brother. I appreciate your time, and I
Fire, my
appreciate Brother
brother.
Trollz.
Fire. Thank you for that,
Love,
man. Thank you. We gotta give
love.
him a round of applause for that.
I appreciate that,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Yeah, clapping the
That was
mic right
neat
there.
poetry
You
right
got to
there.
tap the mic.
That was awesome.
Oh, we only get the sound bite. We only get the sound bite one time during the show.
Love,
Nah,
love.
Hello,
So that
Trollz
was fire,
Nation.
man.
that was
That was
fun.
fire.
No, that was dope. That was dope.
Preach on
That
that,
was
man.
dope.
I definitely appreciate that time, bro. I just wanted to get that out there.
That's fire, my brother.
Just slow it down a
That's
little
fire.
bit.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna
Hell
hold you.
yeah.
I do want
Hi,
to say,
Trollz Nation.
I was definitely nervous because I got so much respect for this brother right here, and to have the opportunity to actually, and it ain't no excuse because I should have came harder than that. But I just wanted to say, like, I do got so much respect for you, brother. And I love the music that you do because you come from the angle that I actually need to like hear more of. You feel me? So I appreciate
Mhm.
that, and it's coming from the city. You feel me? So you know what I'm
Of
saying. And
course.
like,
Of course.
I actually had a little snippet with another brother named Big Gov, who I know had kind of some type of association with you at one point.
Hmm.
And that brother also, try to speak that positive. So that's I just want the city to see the city come back to that. So love to you, brother.
Of course. Love to you too, my brother. Love to you, man. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hey, mine, bro. That was dope, bro. Listen, you did better than me, goddamn it, because I would have been fanned out and been, I would have forgot all fucking words I was gonna say. So that was dope, bro.
Love, bro.
I'd
No facts.
have forgot my words too, bro. Don't worry, man.
No facts. Akeezy is on you. Then after Akeezy, I'm gonna pass it to Iced Out.
Well, speaking on forgetting your words and I think when you're on stage and then that moment hits, like it happens to me all the time. Like even just being on Clubhouse, when that moment hits and the light's shining on you, and you're just like, have you ever experienced something like that?
Well, not for that reason. Not for that reason. I've been up there and I had the moment just because I was too drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I got this bad habit. Um, when I record music, I don't listen to it, like I used to. Like when I record it, and then when we go through the process of mixing it or whatever we're doing for the album, I kind of just move on and just move on to the next idea of recording stuff. So when it comes time to go on tour, if I'm gonna go on tour, I gotta actually go and rehearse for a couple weeks and memorize my own music. Like after so many years of drinking, my brain don't just retain stuff like it used to. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
sometimes I just had that problem, and then sometimes it's the nature in which I wrote the verse or whatever it is, depending on how it is. It's like I'm real big on like syllables matching, just from a technical standpoint. Sometimes I get nerdy with that, and when the syllables match, it's hard to remember which word is coming on which spot because they sound so similar. So I'm always jumbling stuff around like that, but it's fun.
Okay. You touched on drinking and like how it affected you, and um what exactly is that thing that you're just like you don't want to go back to? Like, I understand, it's a lot, it's really big, right, to be on some kind of stimulant or something in the industry. Everybody's partying, everybody's in the club. Like, what is that thing that you're just like, I don't want to go back to that? Like, what helps you with that?
Well, I don't want to go back to like really bad decision making. I just don't feel like I feel like this is a really cerebral business, and it doesn't really have well success doesn't really have as much to do with just being good at making music as people think. Like there's a lot of people who can make great music. There's a lot of people who are great at doing things in the creative space, but they don't make such great decisions, and that's ultimately what will lead to their demise. So I feel like I feel like I was already kind of a troubled kind of kid, and accountability was a big issue with me growing up. I always
Mm,
had a hard time holding myself accountable for things because I had a gift of gab. So my first instinct is always to talk my way out of whatever it is and make it not my fault. You know what I'm saying? So like when you grow a habit of being that way, sometimes you talking when you should be listening. You're not learning when you should be learning. You know what I mean? So and then you put like an alcohol dependency on top of that. I just missed out on a lot of key development. You know what I'm saying? So the decision making was key for me, and being sober and being on point, I'm still not gonna make all the best decisions. So I don't need nothing helping me to make even more bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have a whole lot of time. Time ain't really of the essence like that. You know what I mean? Like we don't have a whole lot of time for bullshit. The more that I elevate in the business, the more I realize how behind the eight ball we are, and the more I see how disenfranchised we are as a culture, especially having all the influence and pretty much being in control of it. But now I kind of see why the wealth gap is like what it is. You know what I mean? Because there are literally people in seats who don't want to allow people of color to be in certain seats unless they feel comfortable with them being in those seats, and that those people got to show that they're willing to be complicit, with some of the business practices and some of the shit that's just keeping certain people in power. You know what I mean? So the infrastructure in the music business is a lot similar to the United States, the government. You know what I mean? It's like a systemic racism, basically. So
yeah.
yeah, so we don't have a lot of time to be playing around because we already come into it and it's being marketed to us. Success is marketed to us. We looking at it on our computers, we looking at it on our TV. All we see is money, jewelry, cars, and we kind of come into it, and it's easy to lose yourself and treat it like you at a party and you here to have fun. And you put the business second and you put getting work done second. You're gonna get out of that what you put into it. So
What was that rock bottom point, for you, that you were just like, I don't want to do this no more, and what made you like, what was that moment?
I just woke up one day in a hotel room in New York, and I I had already did everything you can think of, like drastic car accident, went to jail for a year, got myself in a bunch of trouble in the streets. There really wasn't anything else tragic that can happen but the inevitable. You know what I mean? And I had tried to stop plenty of times. I tried switching to liquor. Switching to wine. I tried drinking only on the weekends. I tried everything. You know what I mean? So, and that just really made it worse. So I woke up one day in New York and just had this overwhelming feeling that it was time for me to stop. I call it a spiritual awakening because I'd never felt like this before. And I felt like if I ain't go with this feeling, something just was telling me. It was like a moment of clarity. If I don't go with this feeling, I ain't gonna make it out of this whole journey. You know what I mean? Like there's something bad gonna happen. So what I did was I just start calling people and telling them I'm stopping because I knew that the kind of person that I am, if I say it to people, and these are already people who views my dependency as problematic anyway. If I say it to my mom, my wife, my father, you know what I'm saying? Like Marshall, if I say it to all these people, then I know they're going to hold me to it. And I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what I did. And that pretty much,
Right.
that was it. That was it.
Wow, that's powerful. So during this time, how did your family, you said your wife, your mom, and Marshall, how did they influence that?
Was this like a 10-part question? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I'll answer that. So they just influenced it by, like just constantly staying on me. You know what I mean? Wifey especially, she ain't give up on me. You know what I mean? And that was necessary. I needed that probably more than anything, because I was kind of used to people just kind of writing me off, and I kind of like fell into that space where it wasn't a whole lot of people that was believing me for long periods of time. Like every time I fucked up, it was like, oh, he ain't coming back from this one. He ain't coming. I was used to people talking about me like that. So she ain't, with all of the shit that I did, all of the shit she caught me doing, all of the wrong I was doing, she ain't give up on me. You know what I'm saying? So I needed that. I needed that. And then, my man Marshall, he went through it before me. So his thing was, if you ever feel like you got a problem, you can call me. He just said that shit to me one day. We were just chilling. And I ain't know if he was implying that he felt like I had a problem, or if he just was bringing the shit up in conversation. But whatever it was, it resonated with me. Sometimes you can plant seeds with people. You don't have to have a full conversation just all at once. You can just plant little seeds and keep it moving. Just put it on their brain, and that shit worked. You know what I'm saying? So all of those things played a part in that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't want to talk about it, or sometimes there are conversations that are very, very sensitive, and so it's something that is like taboo to bring up. But I think that when you do talk about it, and you have you've had made those goals, and you've achieved what you wanted. I think that is good for other people that are struggling with those things to hear. So that's the reason why I ask. I think that everybody in every family has that one uncle or that aunt or that parent that struggles with these situations. So I think it's good to talk about. I think it's good that everybody tells their story, and put that out there, because everybody's struggling with. It could be your neighbor, it could be somebody. So I appreciate you for answering that. That's very, very powerful. T Rose, I want to pass it to you.
Thank you. I agree with you too, for sure.
Yeah, no, facts. Those were some dope ass questions, AK. Um, but Royce, I want to take it back to hip hop, right? So you growing up, what made you want to rap? Because you did say like you love putting those them words together, them syllables. So like what made you want to take that route of being an MC?
Uh, Red Man, Red Man, definitely Red Man first before anything. LL Cool J. When I was younger, I wanted to, I idolized LL Cool J, but I just wanted to beat a nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because he was the coolest rapper I had ever saw. But Redman made me want to put pen to pad. You know what I'm saying? And then, then along came Nas and Hove. By the time that happened, DOC, E40, Razzcast. You know what I'm saying? Once all these people start popping up, Corrupt, the Chronic albums, Doggy Style album, that was it. I was in.
Hey Royce, when we
What's your
gonna get
writing
another
process?
Slaughterhouse album, bro?
My brother, that's probably not gonna happen, man.
Damn.
That's probably not gonna happen.
Well, what's
I mean, I just don't. Huh?
your writing process like as a lyricist of your caliber? Like, how do you approach your writing process? Do you do it all in your head and then go in the booth, or do you write it down?
Just because it's been so many years, and I've been put in so many different situations to have to kind of like create and have to kind of like produce something. I just I just learned that the least amount of structure, the better. So I really don't have a process. It's really just I do everything off how I feel, like energy. I'm a big energy dude. So however I need to do it is how I do it. So sometimes, depending on what the idea is, if I just got it in my head and I ain't wrote it down yet, I'll just say it. The mic is right there. Or sometimes I just jot it down on my phone. Or sometimes I'll write it on my pad because I'm tired of typing it on my phone. You know what I mean? Like whatever feels like that's how it needs to be done. Because I don't think that you can apply one particular process and make it translate to every particular situation, because I feel like what you're trying to do is capture lightning in a bottle. You're trying to capture a specific moment that can't be duplicated. So if you think about it like that, how can you really do that if you show up every time with the same direction, with the same kind of like process, and expecting a different result every time, depending on what it is? Because it can be anything. You know what I mean? Like, I've written on Broadway plays before. I've featured on like pop songs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done so many different kinds of things. It's almost like you have to find a way. You have to find a unique way to approach each thing, because they're so different. You know.
Hey, Royce, when you write in the female voice, if you're ghostwriting or something like that, how do you put your masculinity to the side and step into that perspective?
The only time I really do that is if I'm having somebody come in to sing something, and usually if it depends on if the person is a writer and how I feel about their pen. You know what I mean? Because I love for people to write shit themselves, because I think the best art just comes from the individual. You know what I mean? But sometimes it can be somebody who's just a good singer, but not really a writer like that. Then I'll write it, or I'll give her the melody or something like that. Every now and then I'll lay a reference, but for the most part, it's more so just me telling her what to do.
Fuck you,
And
Inta.
she going,
Fuck you.
Oh, so wait a minute, you've laid references where you're thinking in a female voice.
mm, I'm sure I probably have.
Okay.
I'm sure I probably have. I'm sure it sounded just as ridiculous as you imagined it to.
Hey, what's up with that snippet you put out the other? That shit was fire. What you gonna do with that?
Which one?
It was you dropped it a couple weeks ago. You was just gassing on that joint.
I would have to. I'm gonna go back and look on my. Posted it on my IG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go back and look and see
Roy,
which one that is.
Roy,
Yes,
Hold,
yes, sir.
who's
hey
that?
Roy,
Kwame.
yeah, hey Roy, here's
Okay, go
Quan
ahead.
speaking. I'm a big fan of you. I want to know, where was your mind at? Like, where were you mentally when you made the Bar Exam 4? Because I've been listening to you for years, but when I heard Bar Exam 4, you just went like Ultra Instincts, like Super Saiyan God or something. Like, I never heard you rap like that. How long it took you, to master your craft like that?
A long time, a long time. Just a lot of being in a group. Being in a group helped me a lot. Like, collaborating is real important, man. Because it's like it gives you an opportunity to step out your own like little ecosystem that you built around yourself. And a lot of times we set creative traps for ourselves. Like we set up a atmosphere of comfort, and a lot of times those atmospheres cater to us so much that it's to the detriment of our development creatively. Just having people around us where we always the best.
Hmm.
So sometimes you need to go around other people that's good too. You know what I mean? So then you realize you're not as good as you thought you were, because that's always the conclusion that you're gonna come to. You're not as good as you thought you were. It's always somebody who has your number somewhere in some shape, form, or fashion. It's just how well you can hide it. You know what I'm saying? But there is
Yeah,
no such thing as like a lyricist that's just like kicking everybody's ass all the time. Everybody can get done in. You know what I'm
I've been
saying? So
saying that too.
yeah. So it's just I just learned a lot just being around Joe, Crook, Joel, and then doing the Bad Meets Evil album with Marshall again, getting a chance to work with him. And while he's so much more mature, and he's a whole different person from how he was when we used to be cool back in the day. So that was a cool adjustment. You know what I mean? And then it was the year. You know how they do the year end list
Yeah.
online? Yeah. Well, I wasn't in nobody's year end list, so I was pissed off. So it started off. I just did a freestyle. I think I did the fresher beat. The wait a minute. I did that first, and then I did the the Migos beat, Bad and Bougie. Then I did the Shine. By the time I did like 4 freestyles, they was just like, "Yo, man, you should just do a bar exam." So I just stopped what I was doing. I think I was writing the shit for the play at that moment. I just put that on the back burner and I just focused on doing the mixtape. And I almost forgot to say this. Lupe Fiasco, Ab-Soul, Sci-Hi the Prince, and King Los. Those four niggas, they just kept saying that they the best. They kept saying they the best. I'm the best. I'm the best rapper right now. I'm the best. And it was just like, man, hold the fuck up. Hold
Yeah,
on. We can't have that.
yeah, Royce, you're
So
in my
that's when I
top
was
10
that's when I
lyricists.
went into I was in my most competitive spirit in that moment. That was the moment to get me to go back and forth with you. That was the moment right there. I would have did it. I would have did that on any level, under any circumstance. It wouldn't have been nothing to think about because that was my goal. That was my aim. You know what I'm saying?
You
Yeah,
just did
So
that too when Lupe was acting up a couple months ago, right? Nigga gassed.
yeah, see, but it was like that was a whole different circumstance, and it was just like that was more of a misunderstanding. So
Right.
I ain't real big. I ain't real
Right.
big on that. Like real big on the whole public. Lupe is my friend. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not big on the whole falling out publicly. And come on, man, I did that shit in my 20s. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just can't be looking crazy, man. I can't be looking. We got the youngins looking at us. We got a responsibility to not be, like victims of our own egos and shit like that. Because it ain't about who can rap the best. You know what I mean? Because that shit is just subjective, and it's what your legacy is. Your legacy is gonna be. Nobody can talk that out of the minds of the people. We all are what we are. You know what I mean? I was who I was before I got here, and I'm gonna be what I'm gonna be. You know what I mean? Like that's it. So what we disparaging each other for? You know what I mean? Like what we angry about? What is it to be angry about?
Facts. Facts. Hey, I want to take. Hold
Hey,
on
Royce,
before we
if
get to the next
Royce,
question,
may I ask
Right,
y'all.
one
let's turn back.
Appreciate
hey
y'all.
yo, one mic,
Hold on,
one
y'all.
mic, please,
one
one
mic.
mic.
Appreciate y'all for being here, man. This has definitely been dope, man. If you just joined the room, welcome to Trollz Nation, man. The latest, most dopest club on Clubhouse. One of the most talked about, man. Here we have one of the most littiest, most dopest conversations going on with one of the hottest MCs to touch the microphone. Royce, the 5'9", is invading Trollz Nation. He is in the building, man. Make sure you troll to the top, hit that little green console, become a part of Trollz Nation, become a part of the conversation, become a part of the audience. We love having you here. We got over 100 people in the building, almost 500 people that have passed through, man. We got a retweet button down in the lower left-hand corner, man. We got 25 people that have retweeted this out in the hallway. Let's go ahead and get the retweets up to about 30, 35, man. Let's get it. Let's push it to 40 if we got to, man, and tell everybody that right now, Royce, the 5'9", is in the building. No, he did not flake out. No, he did not show up. No, he is in the building, man. And if you respect the guy like we all respect the man, show him some love when you come to the stage. Remember to mute your microphones if you do come to the stage. If you have any questions, feel free to back channel or DM any of the moderators, and we'll make sure that get your question out there if you're in the audience. Thank y'all so much for being here. And definitely make sure y'all continue to follow the nation. I'm gonna pass it right back to T Rose, and we'll get more of the questions out there. T Rose, back to you, bro.
Oh yeah, Royce, you spoke on you know, in an interview that not a regret, but one of the things you wish you would have did was took the deal, you know what I'm saying, with Dr. Dre. So my question to you is like, when did you first meet Dr. Dre? And what was it about like what Dr. Dre had going on that you wish that you would have probably rocked with him more than a Tommy Boy situation?
Well, I met Dre in '99. I think it was '99. Yeah, it was '99. I was about to do a deal. I was in New York. I was living in New York with a friend of mine, and we were taking meetings just with all of the labels in New York. Like I was like, this is why I'd never laugh at like those videos of like Bobby Schmurder early on when he like standing on the tables at the record labels dancing and rapping and shit, because I damn near was looking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like we be taking meetings. I'll play music. I'll kick a acapella. I take my shirt off. All of the most fucking ridiculous things that you can think of. You know what I'm saying? Because like in those moments, the thing was you had to be able to rap. Like that was the wave. Niggas was rapping at that time. So um So we just was I did a meeting with Herbie Lovebug. I don't know if y'all familiar with him. He may be a little before y'all time, but I did a meeting with Herbie Lovebug, legendary producer, and he had like a little situation through. I can't even remember what the major was. I think it was like was it Warner? One of those. So we was about to do a deal. You know what I mean? Like we had paperwork circulating, and I just happened to Marshall called me one day, and we was talking, and we was talking about his situation with Dre. And then I told him I got a situation too on the table. He like, word? Woohoo. I'm like, shit, Herbie Lovebug. Like, what? I'm like, yeah, Herbie Lovebug. He said, yo, Royce, you're not about to sign with no Herbie Lovebug, man. I was like, why you say that? He was like, man, send me your demo out here. I had to mail him my demo out there on CD. And then I can't remember why I went home, but I flew back to Detroit for something. I remember being in my mom and my dad crib and shit, and my dad coming in the room. Like, Ryan, somebody named Dr. Dre on the phone for you? I was like, excuse me? So I got the phone and shit. I'm like, hello? I'm like, what's up? It's Dre. You know what I mean? It fucked me up. So he basically just told me, M played on my shit. He fucked with it. He was asking me, would I be interested in flying out there? I had never been to Cali before. Would I be interested in flying out there and kind of just helping out? They were working on the chronic and shit. So I'm like, would I? Of course. So I went out there, and
Nice.
I spent a lot of time out there. I was going back and forth, back and forth. I was just writing, writing, writing. You know what I mean? So um, throughout that process, he put a deal on the table for me. He offered me a deal. We asked the other deal, the Herbie deal. We just stopped answering. So um, he put a deal on the table for me for a $250,000 budget and unlimited Dre beats to do the album. So
Ooh.
so when Tommy Boy found out that I was out there with both of them, Marshall and Dre, they wanted to do another meeting because I had already met with them. They one of the ones who passed. So I go back out there, sit down with them again, play them the same music. Every single thing was exactly the same. Nothing changed. Not one new song, not one change. Everything was exactly identical to what I played them the first time, and they went crazy. Oh my God, this is bananas. You know what I'm saying? Like they loved it. What do you know? You know what I'm saying? So they they put an offer on the table, $1 million. So I'm like, holy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like all my 20-year-old mind is and ears is hearing and thinking of is $1 million. That shit sound like such a milestone. It sounds like such a large quantity of money. You know what I mean? Like actually that's
Definitely.
kind of like what that's kind of like at the level in which we consider rich, a millionaire. That's rich to us. So I went back to Cali and I asked Dre. I said, Dre, I told him the whole situation. I said, they offered me $1 million. What should I do? That's exactly what I said. And he said, you should take that because you're not gonna get that nowhere else, man. Like you got to take that. That's crazy. He's like, I'm gonna rock with you regardless. I'm gonna rock with you regardless. You family. You know what I mean? So when I said that I was thinking about the decision that I made, looking at it in retrospect, it wasn't that I would wish that I had a sign with Dre because there's no way for me to know what that would have turned into.
Right.
Like because I wasn't ready on Tommy Boy, so there's no guarantee that I would have been ready with Dre. What I what I what I was contemplating and what was a little bit more closer to being in the regret category was just I just wish the mentorship was there. You know what I mean? Because I would have did whatever he told me, man. If he would have told me to jump off a fucking bridge, that's what I would have did. You know what I mean? And in that moment, I needed his guidance. You know, but then on the flip side of that, think about it. He coming from walking away from death row, starting Aftermath, putting out that been there, done that Aftermath album that people didn't like. People wasn't believing in him. And then, he bring me out there. He believed in me. He brought me out there, and now I'm coming to him questioning, even thinking about going somewhere else. He probably just looked at it like, go ahead then. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like he felt the way, even though we cool to this day. You know what I mean? But I just feel like he felt. I feel like he felt the way. You know what I mean? So whenever I think about that situation,
I think he might have got a call.
huh?
Oh, you still there? Okay.
You're using the matrix a little bit,
Oh,
Royce.
my bad. So whenever I think about that, I think about that to make that specific point right there. And whenever I'm mentoring my youngins, like I try to be as understanding as possible when they say stupid shit and when they do stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I just know that that's just a part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just a part of it. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to take a step to save niggas from their cells sometimes. You know what I mean? Because what I did was I went over there to Tommy Boy. It was this white A&R named Max. He was courting me at the strip club, buying me all the liquor I can drink. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like totally doing what he wouldn't let nobody have his son in there like that. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like the only
Mm-hmm.
people who could have walked in there and pulled me out of there and put Max in check was Dre, Hove, Puff, you know, our great ones, the ones we look up to. You know what I mean? So it's just like I just feel like we got to start looking at each other like we all got a responsibility for one another. We know when some shit ain't right. You know what I mean? We know when somebody who may be fascinated with our culture, but who's not from it or of it, they may just be doing what they think that we think is cool. But you don't know that you feeding a way bigger monster by just even, like even encouraging this shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't know, it's telling. It's telling as fuck.
No, facts. Before I pass it off to Terry to ask his question, I got one more question for you, Royce. Can you let people know how you met Marshall? Because I remember hearing you say that he heard you say like a gorilla line or something like that. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, I was opening up for a young Usher. It was like at a club. And I was one of the opening acts. And Marshall had the Slim Shady EP out in Detroit locally right before he got signed. This was actually the day my son was born in
Oh,
'97.
that's dope.
And I was on stage and I said a cappella and he heard it. It got his attention. And my manager would just happen to have been talking to him down there because I already knew who he was. I was already a fan of him. I had the Slim Shady EP. I had the Infinite album. I mean, I seen him a bunch of times at different open mics. I seen him in passing, you know what I mean? But we never were formally introduced. So my manager was like, he formally introduced us and he was like, yo, he talked about, like the acapella that I had just said. And we exchanged pleasantries real quick, obviously, because I had to jet out to the hospital. But we exchanged numbers and we ended up getting on the phone over the next couple of days, and that's how we got together to do Bad Meets Evil. We went to my man IV studio, the studio I was recording at that time. He came through there. We recorded it. But then when he got his deal, that was one of the songs that he had because he had a bunch of songs with a bunch of different people. But that was one of the songs that he had that he wanted to use for his album. So I had to go out there and recut the vocals, and it was just a lot of things happening, and it kind of forced us to spend a lot of time in close proximity. And we just kind of got tight during that process. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's dope. I'm gonna pass it to Terry. After Terry, I'm gonna pass it to Mignon, and then I'm gonna pass it to Fontez. It's on you, Terry.
Yeah, I can give you
Trolls, me
give you
too.
that. Man.
Already, man. First and foremost, shout out Royce Five Nine, man, for pulling up on us. We highly appreciate
Hey,
it.
yo,
Shout
you
out
need to
Trollz
lower your
Nation.
mic, the
Hi.
radio background.
Yeah, let me get it back to the room. That's when we go playing music or whatever. But I got two little questions for you, Royce, man.
Okay.
All right, so the first one is, have you like, is there anybody that you wanted to work with that you haven't got a chance to work with? And on the flip note, is there anybody that you did work with that you wish you wouldn't have worked with?
Nah, it definitely ain't nobody that I work with that I wish I wouldn't have. I mean, everything is a learning. It's a learning experience. You know what I mean? I wish if I had shit my way, if I could go back and kind of like move the goalposts a little bit, I would have worked with Pharrell later than I worked with him. I worked with Pharrell very early. I worked with Pharrell around Super Thug time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was like, and he was like the same enlightened Pharrell. He was the first person that I worked with, the first producer I worked with who produced me. And that was my first time having somebody play me a beat, already had a hook on it, or tell me the flow that he want me to use, or tell me the concept that he was thinking. Like that was my first time working with somebody like that. Because other than that, I worked with Dre, but not in that capacity because Dre gave me a lot of leniency back then on the Chronic album. He never like said, yo, change that or change, you know what I'm saying? Like he just was like, whatever idea I had, he was just laying it to see how it was a way more carefree environment, you know what I'm saying? So when I got in there
Absolutely.
with Pharrell, it was just like the vibe was on just a zillion, you know what I'm saying? Because he was just teaching the whole fucking time, like just dropping jewel after jewel after jewel after jewel. Who is that right there? Oh, that's your man? All right, well, do he rap too? All right, well, you need to put him on the bridge. You got to make sure you put your man on. You know what I'm saying? Like, he used to talk like that. You know what I mean? So I just enjoy, you know what I mean? Like, me and Pharrell still cool. I don't run into him that much. You know what I'm saying? So I just wish I was just a little bit more mature so I could absorb that information a little bit better and be able to apply it a little bit more efficiently. You know what I'm saying? So that's like really the only thing. But other than that, like I said before about collaborating, I'm pretty much open to collaborating with anybody as long as it ain't like pop artists. I don't wish to do music with any pop artists.
Okay, gotcha. Appreciate you for answering that. Now, my second question is, with all this nonsense, with all these artists and whatnot going through this bullshit, yeah, shot or whatever, like, what steps do you take, or what measures are you taking to make sure using yours is safe at all points in time?
You said with all the bullshit that's going on with what? I'm sorry, I
With
didn't
all
hear that
these
part.
artists or whatnot, all the shootings and the killings and stuff, like all the shit that's going on now.
Yeah, I mean the unfortunate thing about that is just it's kind of like a part of it, you know, because it's always been like this. It's just right in your face now because of social media.
Right.
You know what I mean? But anytime you get young black brothers from the hood who come from nothing, who are thrown into a space where they being given a shot at doing something that they haven't been briefed or taught how to do, where we just got to learn through trial and error. We bring in all of our baggage from that environment that we got out of. We bring in all our baggage into a whole new space. You know what I'm saying? And we think that we competing with one another. So anytime you got niggas who like, yo, I'm ready to die over this shit. I'm willing to die to make it. And that's basically the mind frame. You know what I mean? So, perception is reality. Nobody wants to be made to look like you compromise in front of on a public platform in front of the people for the people to see. Everybody kind of like guarding something. Everybody fragile. Nobody know how to communicate. People are in a way more comfortable space, just blowing each other's fucking heads off because that's easier to do than to just say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's tough to be able to find that accountability. So I completely understand it. I just think that it's unfortunate, but I just don't, it doesn't really apply to me at this point in life. You know what I mean? Only because I've been through all that already. And for whatever reason, I guess it was meant for me to be here because I survived it. But now I just lead with love. You know what I mean? Like I don't have no problems because I don't put that out. I don't put that into the universe, so I don't get it back. You know what I mean? Like it's love with me now because peace is like, success is subjective as hell. But I found that in my mind, my version of what success is, my definition of it is just peace of mind. That's it. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like having no problems. You know what I mean? If it's something that can't be talked out, if it's something that I can't communicate with somebody about, then I'm not gonna let it linger. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not against violence, but I feel like I just went to war for this peace of mind that I have. So I'm guarding that. You know what I mean? So I don't want problems. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what it is. And I think if you stand on peace, nothing but peace will come to you. You know what I mean? Like if you stand on putting bullshit and negativity out there, then yeah, you'll just get that back. And then what we learning is nobody is too tough you know what I'm saying? Nobody is too tough. Like nobody is too so tough where they gonna survive it automatically. You know what I mean? Like it's just like that shit is a myth. That tough guy shit is a myth. You know what I mean? And we the only genre of music that does it. That's like the measuring stick for cool only in our communities. But there has to be some sort of redeeming outcome. It can't just be tough guy street nigga, tough guy street nigga your whole life. Like at some point there has to be some sort of evolution there, man. You know what I mean? Sometimes I listen to
Facts.
some of these rooms on Clubhouse on YouTube. You know what I mean? Sometimes I listen to some of these rooms and I hear all of these, these street guys having 2-3 hour long conversations just about shit that don't matter to no to it don't even matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Facts.
wow,
That's
they
but
sitting
shit
here.
that's whack.
Facts.
Shit that's
These niggas are sitting
goofy.
here all this time talking about some shit that don't matter. It only matter in a small little world of niggas that done been to prison. My big brother act like that. Done been to prison and are hanging a hat on what they mean to the streets. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, bruh, it's a way bigger world out here, man. And you not at the height of your capabilities appealing to some street shit. You know what I'm saying? That's nothing. That's small. You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Evolving past just thinking that way. Like if Jay-Z stayed stuck like that, then we wouldn't even have been able to witness greatness. He would have just hit a wall.
Yo, Royce, question.
That's what, man.
What,
I appreciate you answering my question, Royce, man. Shout out to you and shout out Trollz Nation once again, man.
My
hey, yo,
man,
Royce,
love.
this Ice Coleon. I got a question though. You heard?
What's up, bro?
What type of advice you give? Artists coming in the game. The labels is jerking dudes, giving them 360 deals, raping them. They signing, they publishing away. What type of advice you give those type of people?
Yeah, just don't give it away. That's a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like we come into the business, but I understand why that choice is being made because it's a tactic of people in the business to kind of treat you like, like this the only opportunity you're gonna ever get. You niggas be afraid to say no to shit. You know what I'm saying? And we just be eager. We be eager to feel like that we taking steps. Like I felt like I needed a record deal because that just was like my logical next step to me. My son is an artist, and he felt like, man, I need a record deal, and I was the one who had to tell him like, why you think you need a record deal? You know what I mean? Like patience is like we program to think real short sighted. But my advice would be to just relax, don't move really fast, and just think of your career like it's a long play. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can climb up a chart, that's fine. That's fine. But it's limited in terms of what it means. Like it's a number that they're gonna put on you your first week. Everybody gonna go ooh or ah. But down the line, even with some of these so-called hit records that's played all on the radio and then they just fizzle out and go away, down the line when they don't age well, is you who gotta bear the brunt of your catalog not being self-serving to you because you catered to a machine or some radio play. If you can do both, you can make important shit and do the numbers, that's cool. But you want to elevate up the culture's ladder, not the charts. The charts don't really matter. Like we don't talk about Stevie Wonder. I don't know where none of Stevie Wonder shit charted. Michael Jackson or nobody else. Maybe Thriller because it's the highest selling album ever. But nobody talks about them like that because the music and what they stand for, what they mean to us and to the culture supersedes that. You know what I mean? All of these numbers, everybody fixated on all these numbers. those numbers don't really mean shit. They don't really mean nothing. So a lot of the youngins I know, they looking at these numbers and they putting shit out, and when they don't see the numbers move fast enough, they telling themselves that's a failure. That didn't work. That's why everybody depressed and everybody feel like they ain't where they need to be. Everybody looking at everybody. Everybody's journey is unique to them. Even me giving you advice, I can only advise you based off of my experiences. You can't turn around and do exactly what I did. The key is just to find your own way. You know what I mean? And that shit takes some time. You ain't gonna have that figured out. You're gonna make some mistakes and just embrace those mistakes, man. Make
That's a
them.
fact.
Make them early. Make as many of them as you can early. Get them out the way, because that's where you're gonna learn your greatest lessons. You know, because these other kids, like the kids of these executives and shit like that, they come stumbling through the game, man. They don't be worried about making no mistakes. They benefiting from nepotism. They don't give a fuck. They fearless because they not being made to feel like somebody can come remove them. But bruh, nobody's gonna fire you. Nobody can fire you. Nobody can come remove you. You come into the game owning everything. All your intellectual property belongs to you. You don't have to give that shit to nobody. Baby signed a deal, his Cash Money deal in 1997 with Universal, an 80-20 split, $30 million, and he retained ownership of all masters. That was in 1997. And the reason why he was able to do a deal like that, because it was nigga, take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if they see the vision and they want to be in business with you, then they gonna play ball how you want to play ball, But you gotta be able to place value on yourself, because if you leave it to them to put the value on you, then they gonna undervalue you every time. It make perfect sense, you know what I'm saying?
No, facts, facts. I'm gonna pass it to McNaughton. McNaughton is on you.
Hello, Royce.
Hello.
Earlier you mentioned Motown. With Detroit's music being like a music mecca with the influence of Motown and the hip hop culture that has been cultivated, what is the current stance of the influence of Motown on Detroit? Does the culture there see Motown as laying building blocks for the hip hop culture and its influence on the city today, or is it not really revered in that manner?
I haven't been involved in a whole lot of conversations with people who don't recognize it, and it's not held to a high standard, like, and revered like that. You know what I mean? I mean, it's Hissville it's like a museum now. You know what I mean? It's a tourist attraction. I mean, and the rich lineage is just kind of like in the air. You know what I mean? Like, the young artists may not be running around, singing the Temptations or nothing like that, but I think everybody just kind of look at it like it's a part of all of us, and it lives through all facets of culture. It's not even just music, just even like the energy of like the Fab Five with Michigan, or like the Detroit Piston Bad Boys, even the Red Wings. You know what I mean? Like when they had Sergei Fedorov and all them dudes that was fighting all the time. It was just like, it's an energy. You know what I mean? And I think that's the Detroit versus everybody energy. I think all of that embodies kind of like the same thing. We kind of like carrying on tradition. But I'm pretty sure if you speak to somebody, it's gonna be somebody that's gonna say something stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, that come with it. You know what I mean? But for the most part, I think everybody recognizes it for what it is.
Okay, one question. I'll make it real quick. This doesn't seem like a strange question. What museum there would you say is a good museum in
Uh,
Detroit?
um, um, the Detroit Institute of Arts.
Okay,
You can go there. That's super historic and it's big. You know what I mean? Like, the last time I went there, I was in there for a couple hours.
okay,
So you can definitely go to DIA for sure.
okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, so my boy Burner. Burner's on you, bro.
Royce, what's good? It's Cash from Jersey. I definitely a
What's up, homie?
supporter.
Thank you, man.
Definitely feel like you're one of the most underrated MCs in hip hop. I just had like two questions. The first question was like, how did you feel like going back and forth with all the stuff with like Lord Jamar and everything? Like, was it like draining? And then also the stuff with Eminem and with the tapes that came out, like it has to be draining on you, like having to defend it, knowing that people are trying to, you know, trying to spin it, like racism and everything like that. Does it get draining for you to have to keep dealing with that?
Nah, because I don't. It's not really nothing that I have to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, it appears that way sometimes, but I learned a lot from all of that, all of those interactions. You know what I mean? Because Lord Jamar is somebody I hold to a high regard, always have. You know what I mean? Like I always looked at Brand Nubian, one of my favorite groups. You know what I mean? So me and Lord Jamar, our disconnect wasn't because of his opinions about Marshall, though I did disagree with those opinions as a hip hop fan. I disagree, of course. I can give him pushback all day. But where we bumped heads at was when he said disrespectful shit about me. See, that's what can become draining when people when they go at him and they don't get like him to engage them back for whatever reason. It's always my name. I don't understand why it's always my name.
I
It's
feel
like I
like it's
don't
your, I feel like it's your name because you're the closest to him. I feel like you've always been
yeah,
like the
but I'm not the
shot
close.
since proof.
I'm not
Yeah.
even the
You got
closest
Mr.
to him.
Porter though. Yeah, Mr. Porter
Yeah,
be
it's like I'm not even the closest to him. You know what I'm saying? Like Marshall was like he a grown man, so he pretty much be in his own world. I come around when we doing music and shit like that, but him and Porter, shit, they lived together when they was kids. Porter did his whole first album. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like
wow, I didn't even know that. Wow.
yeah, and then we spent a lot of time with each other early on when he put me on. He put me on, and he looked out for me when definitely he didn't have to. He took a liking to me and embraced me, and I always just appreciated that. You know what I mean? But we fell out. You know what I mean? Like that was one of the things that happened, the unfortunate things that happened. Me being drunk all the time and being competitive and nobody, like willing to take steps to communicate. It just went bad between me and D12 because everybody wasn't communicating with each other. So we fell out and we ain't speak for over 10 years. So I didn't speak to him again until Slaughterhouse. Until Slaughterhouse was all the way scaled to number one group, independent group in the country, and they wanted to do the Shady deal. Up until that point, I hadn't spoke to him. You know what I mean? Um, so the Lord Jamar thing was just, of course, I I'm always sticking up for all my friends. You know what I mean? Like they said the same thing about Joe. You're always sticking up for Joe. If I'm asked, I'm gonna be honest. You know what I mean?
Nah, fact.
It's been a few times. It's been a few times where I butted into the conversation. You know what I mean? Maybe when I shouldn't have. You know what I mean? But the Lord Jamar thing, our real disconnect, and the only thing that I took issue with was just kind of like the way he was handling my name because I don't think he meant anything by it. I think that he was just already speaking a certain way when he was referring to Marshall. And then when my name came up, he didn't make any like adjustments like with how he was speaking. He was just reckless. Same with Benzino, just reckless with the way he using my name. And I attribute that to just the way that they view Marshall. And then like to view me the exact same way, like there's certain things that he may not care about that I may care about. You know what I mean? Like I'm real big
Absolutely.
on respect. I'm real big on
Absolutely.
respect. Like before anything, before we can even have discourse about, hip hop and we can do the barbershop talk and shit all day, but I'm not standing for no disrespect, bro. You know what I mean? From nobody. You know what I mean? So if I feel disrespected, I'm gonna address it. You know what I mean? And it don't always have to end in violence, but it's definitely gonna have to be an understanding. I feel like you treat people how to treat you. Sometimes you got to draw boundaries and you got to set boundaries and let people know when they crossing the line. And it's all right. It's all right to cross the line as long as you ain't know where the line was at. But now that you know where it's at, we can move forward from there positive. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of
Absolutely.
like where it was at. And then me and Jamar ended up talking, and I was finally able to give him his flowers like I always wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like then I did his podcast, and then I squashed the shit between him and Marshall, and all is well. No harm, no foul. You know what I mean? Um, now as far as the you asked me about what'd you ask me about?
Now, like the tapes coming out, like, do you like does it is it like draining? Because like I said, I feel like people are trying to spin it after all these years. Like I even like going back and forth with people in the rooms about it and been on M side about it because I feel like it happened. He came out, he apologized for it. It's over, and I feel like people like Benzino keep using it just for clout and just to keep their name up about it. I just don't even. I don't feel like it's all about this culture that these people are preaching because I feel like people are hypocrites in that situation with it.
Well, listen. In his defense, if I had to say anything, if I had to look for some sort of silver lining in his behavior, because a lot of his behavior is strange to me, and I don't understand all of it, but I do appreciate everything that he contributed with the source.
Nah,
I really,
facts. Yeah, facts.
I really do. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like one of them dudes who's like trying to not give somebody the grace. It's just that I never had the opportunity to express that to him because every time I've ever heard about him speaking in regards to me, it was something disrespectful. You know what I mean? So like when we did the Slaughterhouse deal with Marshall, he was doing Hip Hop Weekly. He reached out, they reached out for Slaughterhouse to do an interview. At that time, he was going through a nasty lawsuit with my manager's wife. She was suing the source for sexual harassment. And also, you know, their public feud with Shady prior to me even being around. All of that went on. When all of that went on, I wasn't around. So it ain't had nothing to do with me. You know what I mean? So here we are, Slaughterhouse signed to a major again. All of us, as it pertains to the music business, pretty much have been around the block already. So now we got another shot. So we just ain't want to make no waves. We ain't want to be a part of nothing negative or nothing like that. So we just respectfully decline. Benzino didn't like that. So he gets on camera with Nori. Nori's filming. He started talking about fuck Slaughterhouse. They overrated anyway. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do an interview with my magazine just because Kim bitch ass is Ario. Blah 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 blah. I know. Keno is Royce's manager. Fuck Royce. Fuck. And then it just went to fuck me. The whole rest of the fucking video was just about fuck me.
Wow,
So
that's crazy.
I'm looking at the shit, thinking to myself like, what the fuck did I do? You know what I
That's
mean?
crazy.
So that's the origin of the back and forth between me and Benzino. I have not one time defended those tapes or defended Marshall against Benzino. It's as juicy as that sounds and as fun as that is to believe and follow. It's just not true. You know what I mean? Like I never felt like I need. First of all, I've never gotten a call from nobody on that side telling me that they need my help. Never had a conversation with Marshall about it. I don't think he view it as a beef. I don't think he paying it no attention. I think whatever it was, the energy he gave it was he was on that at that time. You know what I mean? We ain't do a whole lot of talking about what was going on when we wasn't speaking. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah, I
never
feel
talked to him about the tapes. I never talked to him about none of that. I've never been in a situation with him where I've even thought to bring it up. You know, so like back then when it happened, it was unfortunate. You know, like I was kind of like disappointed. You know, like as disappointed as I can be as a young drunk. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I wasn't as I wasn't about community and about the upliftment of black women and understanding the importance of that as I am now. If it had happened now, you know, my thoughts on it would probably be different. You know, even looking at it in retrospect, I still feel the same way. I feel it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but I can't be involved in a whole bunch of conversations with people. I don't want to tell nobody how to feel about it. I don't want to change anybody's mind. If you upset about it, be upset about it. You entitled to be upset about it. Benzino got every right in the world to be as triggered by that shit as he wants to be. You know what I mean? My thing is the shit. What you're triggered by has nothing to do with me. I don't have a problem with anybody. So if you got a problem with me, there's nothing that I can do about that. You know what I'm saying? But
absolutely.
nobody's gonna tell me how to feel. Nobody's gonna tell me how to deal with it. Even if I had an issue with it, Benzino is not who I'm gonna discuss that with, especially not publicly. I'll discuss it with my friend. You know what I
Mm,
mean? And all my friends have made mistakes. I made mistakes. If my wife judged me off of cheating on her and she felt like once a cheater, always a cheater, then I wouldn't even have a fucking family. I wouldn't have a driver's license. I wouldn't be out of jail. You know what I mean? If I wasn't allowed the opportunity to grow, you know, and I just feel like all white people are inherently prejudiced. So are all black people, but white people are just in a more privileged position. So they say things when they in certain environments. They say shit. They say prejudice shit, and then it's when you put a power structure behind it that makes it racist. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
if he took those words and put it on a way bigger platform, then we dealing with dangerous. But if we looking at a kid being immature, saying stupid shit, yeah, it's something to talk about. You know what I mean? But I just don't know. I don't know how much of that conversation and how much of that dialogue is helpful versus how much of it is just really counterproductive at some point. Because yo, man, you really got to watch how you even do anything that may appear motive driven. It's a very, very important issue. So that issue has no time or room for your agenda. You know what I mean? Like, if you speak into that and you think it's a big issue, then you got a right to do that. But that I got a right to look at you and say, okay, what other issues are you speaking to? I don't hear you speaking to any of our issues. I don't see you standing up for black women on any other time, any other day, ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I after getting in the field and doing community work and actually taking steps, it's difficult for me to talk to somebody that's just talking. You know what I mean? Like, we don't really have time. We don't have time for that. You know what I mean? And I don't want niggas to think that I don't feel like dude is a legend or what he did wasn't fucking great. What he did was phenomenal. You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
like, bro, I can't tell you that if every time I hear about you speaking, you saying some wild shit about me for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna get back what you give. That's just always what that's gonna be. But it don't gotta be like that. You know what I mean? Like, it don't have to be. I'm definitely not running around here searching for no beef to have with no nigga in his 50s, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we got kids, we got police blowing fucking our children's fucking heads off, man. I don't have time to be talking about no fucking tape from 30 fucking years ago and trying to figure out whether my friend is a racist or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is, if you want to feel like he a racist, go ahead. Go ahead and feel that way. But don't get mad at me because I don't feel that way.
No, I feel you. No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
It's not my job. It's not my job to hold him accountable for shit like that. It's not my job in our relationship to do that. I don't have that kind of relationship with nobody. Nobody comes and checks me about nothing I said. You know what I mean? Like, I say what I want to say. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't know he was going to be famous. So now that he's in the culture, I can only look at him for what he's done. And everything that he's ever involved himself with or lended his name to has always been with the intention to contribute. All of these dudes come into this fucking culture and just use us. They use us as a stepping stone and move over to rock and roll, walk all over us. Niggas just let them do that. All of these people that you accuse in Marshall of being, they doing the shit right in front of you. You're not saying nothing. You just have some sort of fascination with Marshall, you know,
I agree.
and that's cool. You know, like, I agree with a lot of stuff that he is kind of like standing for. I just don't agree with a lot of the messaging. But I feel like I agree that we should police. We should have more of a grasp on how to police our culture. We definitely should be of that thinking. You know, so I don't think nobody was out of line by saying that he was a guest or nothing like that. I'm not against none of that, bro, because we seeing what happens. We're a byproduct of that shit happening. The Vlads and all of these dudes. It's like, man, if we're gonna police it, let's really know what we're looking at. Let's really know who's for the culture and who's not.
Yeah,
The
who's the
action,
culture?
the
Who's the
actions
culture
show.
vultures? Who's the
Yeah,
culture
man.
vultures?
Like, the actions show. You don't. It don't make you a culture vulture just because you white, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, shit. He fell in love with the culture the same way we did. You know what I mean? Living in Missouri, living in the trailer park, living in Detroit, living in wherever. If he was from Alaska, what difference do it make, man? Like, he watched the same BET, MTV that we watched. You know, he idolized the same LL Cool J. He's just from a different walk of life. You know what I mean? All of these stories about the powers that be created him and put black people around him and all that. That shit sounds like a person who never even experienced success before. That's ridiculous. You know what I'm
Because
saying?
Royce,
Like,
I feel like they're jealous of his position. I feel like he's done a lot in the culture, and they come at him because of that. I don't even think it's nothing more. They just mad that they didn't have the success he's had. To be honest with you,
well,
I've said this before to people.
well, I mean that could be true. Maybe not. You know what I mean? But I, I don't know, man. I don't see what it is to be jealous about. It's only one. It's only one of him. We ain't never gonna see that again.
Nah, big fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
what is there to be jealous
Absolutely.
about? It's a novelty. It's something. It's something. It's the first time hip hop heard somebody tell that story. First time hip hop heard a white boy that could rap like that, that is considered authentic, who's respected by his peers, who he pretty much made every move he can make so you wouldn't associate him with anything pop, bubblegum, or watered down. He dissed all the white rappers. He dissed all the pop acts. He dissed everybody that he was right there on TRL with. He did a song with all of our greats. You know what I'm saying? Like he never did wrong to none of our greats. There's not any of our greats that reached out and he said no. You know what I'm saying? Like when Hove asked him to get on the blueprint, he came to me and was like, "Yo," because we Renegade was my song. He came to
Yeah, I
me
know.
and he
Yeah,
was like,
I
"Yo,"
know.
since he was like, "Yo," Jay reached out, man. Like I missed the last one, man. I can't tell him no again. I can't tell him no again. Like, would you be cool if I gave him Renegade? And I was like, hell yeah, I'll be cool with that. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you asking. You ain't even have to ask. That's that goes without saying. You know what I mean? But just the imperative nature in his voice, the way he was speaking, it was important to him that he didn't make Jay feel like, like he was spinning him or something. That's a big deal. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's still a big deal. He's still doing songs with LL Cool J to this day, man. Like it's like a it's like a milestone for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know if there's anybody that's diametrically opposed to that. Like I love Mac Miller. You know what I mean? Like I can't think of too many that I can compare him to. Everybody else, they just look a little different. You know what I mean? Some of them talented, but for the most part, we do a whole lot of embracing. We do a whole lot of embracing. You know
yeah.
what I'm
Thank you,
saying?
Rose. I appreciate that, Lawrence. I thank you so much. You definitely one of the greats in the culture, and I appreciate you for that time, bro.
My man, love.
No, that was some dope ass questions, Burner Bro. I'm gonna pass it to my boy Fontez, and after Fontez, we're gonna go ahead and reset the room.
Yo, what's good, Trollz Nation, man? I appreciate y'all allowing me to be a part of this right now. I just want to add something to what you were saying earlier, Royce, as far as like when they used to come out with the little top MC list. I definitely thought it was crazy how you was never in the mentions. But at the same time, I think too they based a lot of that off commercial success too. You know what I mean? And you know, the barbershop debates and conversations, you always been in my top five, bro. I'm born and raised in Chicago, so I grew up listening to like back in the Ruckus days and Slum Village, and you just always been one of the illest, bro. You know what I mean? And I
Thank
just
you, man.
honestly want to ask you, like, what's Roy's top five?
I think I would probably have to break it down in generations, like eras, because I just I don't even think it's possible to do a top five of all time for hip hop, you know. But my favorite, I'll put it like that. My favorite five rappers are Jay-Z, Nas, Eminem, Biggie, and Tupac. That's my
That's
favorite.
mine too. Yep.
That's my favorite five. But you could swap out anybody with Big L. You could swap out anybody with
Big
Big
Pun.
Pun. Anybody with Black Thought.
Facts,
Um,
facts.
Let me see who else do I hold to that high regard? Redman, DMX, um, E40. Let me see, DOC, Kendrick. Kendrick is already there. I'm not one of those guys who feel like we gotta wait to see how things go for him.
Where would
I
you put
think
50? Where would you rank?
50, 50, 50 is up there for me, but Get Rich or Die Trying is up there. Top albums of hip hop of all time. It's up there.
Yeah, facts,
Get Rich or
facts.
Die
Would you,
Trying. That's like a
big
Bible.
big facts? That's big facts.
Would you
Yeah,
put Lil Wayne up there?
absolutely. How could you not?
How did you feel when
About
M signed
face.
50? Did you feel like 50 took your spot, or you felt like it was like fuck it, like we all a family, this is how we gonna get it? How did you feel when M was about to sign 50 Cent, or when you heard him about to sign 50 Cent? And how did you feel when he first dropped?
Yeah. Well, when he first signed them, I felt a way about that because I had a conversation with Paul not that long before where we talked about doing the situation. And during that conversation, I felt like he had the opportunity to tell me that they was negotiating the deal with 50 in that moment, but he didn't. You know what I'm saying? So, and just looking at it in retrospect, of course, I was just being entitled. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just acting entitled. You know what I mean? But 50 was gonna be 50, no matter where he was gonna go. You know what I mean? Like so, anywhere he went, it was gonna feel like to somebody that he took somebody's spot because he was gonna take over wherever he went. You know what I mean? Like that shit just was gonna happen. It was happening. And I think a lot of the feelings that I had, of course, none of them was toward 50. I think a lot of feelings I had was just that thing we do when we young artists where it's like we want to make it. We watching other people do it and we just fit. It was feeling like the parade was passing me by. So I just dealt with that how I dealt with it. I probably did some complaining, probably talk some shit to whoever I was drinking with. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably that was probably it. You know what I mean? Now to answer your question, how did I feel when that shit dropped? Man, I felt like it was probably the greatest energy that we ever felt in hip hop that week, those months. I mean, because it was everywhere. It was like you walk through the mall, something from Get Rich or Die Trying was playing out of every store. It was on every station. Everything was on every station on the radio. They just had a whole movement going. But 50 was just like, I don't know. It was the perfect album for me. The mind state out, the mind frame I was in at that time. It was the perfect album for me. So uh, that's kind of like how I felt about that.
All right, man. Y'all already know what it is, man. We in the building. It's Trollz Nation, the latest, most dopest club, one of the most talked about clubs on Clubhouse, man. You are in the building live with us. Royce the 5'9" in the building, man. Make sure you troll up to the top, hit that little green console, become a part of Trollz Nation, become a part of the conversation, become a part of the audience. We love having you here, man. It is going down, man. Right there in that lower left-hand corner, man. Let's get this club room out in the hallways, man. You can talk in the hallways right now by hitting that little retweet button and talk. Get your comment out there. Tell them Trollz Nation is going down. Royce the 5'9" really is here, man. He's answering questions left and right. Is no holds barred. I'm telling you. Shout out to everybody that slid through here, man. Latinx is in the building. Shout out to Dummy Boy, I think, stopped through. Man, shout out to everybody. Jock Craze, NY, Lil, A-Dub, I see you. Ulysses, Bimmy, I see you. A lot of y'all in the building. The moderators is in the building. T Rose, JU8, Keezy, Delicious in the building. And our special guest for the evening, Royce the 5'9", man. You see that Twitter button at the bottom? You can also hit that right there to share any clips, any gems that you caught along the way, man. You can share those 30-second clips and you can save the video. You can share it on your Twitter, your Facebook, anything like that, man. We love to get them shares. All right, T Rose, back to you, bro.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Latinx is in the building. I'm gonna pass it to two people. My boy Sempre Fuego. He got something he want to ask Royce, and as well as my boy Rodrigo. Sempre is on you, brother.
All right, hey Royce, how you doing now? It's Siempre Fuego over here. I had a question for you and a
All right.
request. Do you ever listen to Spanish music? Being that like Bad Bunny's the number one streaming artist in the world, and can I spit some bars for you in Spanish?
Uh, sure.
All right. La conocí en la ciudad, brincando, brincando de bar en bar. Ella una mala quiere jugar, solo saca la cámara para grabar. Tú me gusta porque tú eres un cuero. Muero feliz y por mi gusto muero. Estoy en la calle haciendo dinero. Cuando ella me llama, sabes lo que quiero. Tú me gusta porque tú eres un cuero. Muero feliz y por mi gusto muero. Estoy en la calle haciendo dinero. Cuando ella me llama, sabes lo que. Sé que tú quieres chapearme, tú te ves fuego, ven pa' quemarme. Como tiempo no pienso doblarme, cero sentimientos si quieres, úsame. Está suculenta, cuando se empatilla se pone violenta. Por una cartera su culo te inventa, Versace Dior, si no es eso no suelta nada. Obsesionada con el diseñador, rabia de contacto, empieza el temblor. Reggaetón viejo, noche de terror, baby dale hasta abajo como que soy don. Yeah, like I don't know if you ever listen to Spanish music, Royce, but
Put
thank
that
you.
bitch on a beat. That's a hit. I was jamming my damn
Yeah,
self.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, I was
Yeah, that
rocking.
shit was fire.
That was doing up.
What, nigga?
You was bumping.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
smooth.
Yeah, I got a question. Does Bad Bunny rap in Spanish?
yeah. He's from
Yeah.
Puerto Rico.
Everything is in
Yeah.
Spanish.
Everything's in Spanish, man.
Okay.
Hey, T Rose, I had a
Yeah, man.
question. I know, I don't know how y'all want to do this, but I want to get more into the questions, No disrespect to nobody, but I do have a question after everybody else. So,
All
No, I
right,
got you.
definitely.
I got you. You next. You right after Rodrigo. Rodrigo, want to ask a question, and then it's on you, bro.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. First of all, thanks T Rose, DJ Swag, the whole Trollz Nation for just giving us some space here, man. And I really appreciate it, and just bringing down Royce the 5'9". I'm a old head. I'm an old head, bro. So I remember you from way back when, man. When the first time I heard you was on 12-minute freestyle and DJ Stretch Armstrong, man. It's a long
Mm,
fucking time ago, man. And I wanted
yeah.
to ask you, man, which one of your freestyles, man, your legendary freestyles, would you say is like your favorite? Like you just fucking like went off and you even like said to yourself like, God damn, I killed it, man. That's my question.
Um. I mean, I like the L.A. Leakers one because that was it was the last one. You know what I mean? There's a couple more that's cool. But I never really felt like that. I just body bodied some shit at the radio because I was always running around with Slaughterhouse and I was never prepared really like that. But the L.A. Leakers one was the first one that I was like prepared for, and I just flew in specifically to do that, and where I was happy with the outcome. A lot of stuff that I did, I just don't even go back and watch because it's just like I could hear myself like stumbling over a couple words, forgetting lines, having to switch to different verses and shit like that. So yeah, probably just the L.A. Leakers one, maybe the Flex one, maybe those two.
That's what's up, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming through.
Appreciate you, my brother.
Bill, it's on you, bro.
Hey, what's going on, Royce? It's Skinny Slim from
What's up,
Brooklyn,
brother?
living here in Atlanta. Appreciate you, man, just giving us your precious time, bro, and dropping these gems. And somebody like you that I looked up to, being in Brooklyn, knowing the indifferences you had with Slim, and now you and Marshall are like 100. That is like so inspiring for me. Even though like all this, throughout the whole time, it was crazy. But I'm gonna go right into the question: what's anything new you're doing, and also, are you trying to get into acting? Is there something else you're trying to pursue? And what do you do for like Detroit in the community? Do you do school drives? Because I'm definitely into all that in my community. So I would love to hear that.
Yeah, I've been focused on a lot of community stuff lately. So I think I've been doing that a little bit more than recording. I got some content ideas that I'm developing. Like I redid all my rooms in my studio. I've been using the pandemic as just like a time to just take my time and just learn new things and just we all got to understand that it don't have to be rap 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 all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like we kind of trained to come into this shit and just kind of leave it all in the ring. And by the time you done, you didn't gave everything you got to the business. You know what I mean? And I think that's why a lot of our OGs and our legends, they're not so happy about the way the hand they got dealt in this shit. You know what I'm saying? And then like us, the generations after them, don't always give them the grace. It's always y'all had y'all time. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never understanding of how fucked up this business is. And I think if we rode for each other like that, then more things would be in place, like pensions and shit. The same amenities that pro athletes and all of that get. I think artists should get that shit too, because even if it's somebody that came before you that may not have been as successful as artists are today, due to the elevation of the shit, the evolution of the shit, it still wouldn't be possible for us to do a lot of shit that we're doing without them. It's almost like they stepped through the door and they took all the shrapnel, and then we came behind them and then just had kind of like a free walk. That don't really sit well with me. You know what I'm saying? So, what was the question? I started babbling. What was the
Well, it
question
was
again?
more
I'm
into
sorry.
like like future projects, and also if you trying to get into acting. I see a
Oh
lot of
yeah, okay.
people.
So yeah, I never been interested in acting. That's just not something I ever wanted to do. But community work. So I launched a foundation called the Ryan Montgomery Foundation. So one thing I noticed that it's a stigma in our community about just mental health treatment or just the idea of mental health or making that a priority or even acknowledging, like the state of it or being able to articulate how you feel, what's going on in this shit. You know what I mean? Like, and we all need therapy. Every single black person, every single foundational black person in America need therapy, man. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I noticed, and I also noticed that it's not ready available. It's not readily available to our communities. It's an amenity in the white communities, but it's not in our communities. It's not even an option that we have. It's not even something that crossed our desk. So when I launched the foundation, I partnered up with this statewide organization called NAMI. It's the biggest organization that deals with mental illness in the state. So we developed this phone number, 1-833-ROYCE-59, and it's basically just a toll-free number that you can call if you just need to talk to somebody. And then also we can also delegate different people to different facilities around Detroit if they need to go in and speak to somebody. So my goal is one day, someday down the line, maybe not in the near future, but at some point, maybe there can be like a mental health responder when you dial 911 instead of the police coming and pulling up and fucking blowing somebody's head off because they don't understand black people. You know what I mean? Because I don't feel like the white people should be allowed to police us. I just don't. I think they ruined the opportunity to be able to do that a long time ago. And if I had it my way, we would just police ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think that the majority of the time when people dial 911, it's not for some serious shit. It's a cat in a tree. You know what I mean? So a lot of times a mental health responder would suffice more so than just sending out squad cars. You know what I mean? So I just think systems and shit need to change in that way. And I think it's got to start somewhere. So that's kind of like some of the steps that I've been taking
And
in Detroit.
I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, man. And nothing but success for you. And keep being legendary, bro. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
No, those some dope questions. I do have a question for you, Royce, from the back channel from Miss Bashiri. She's a Detroit native. She said that she's loving the conversation and everything that you speaking about on the platform. She said, "Do you plan on getting into politics one day due to your activism with mental health initiatives here in Detroit?"
Nah, I mean, I kind of learned my lesson with saying never to things, but I'm damn near sure. I mean, I can't predict the future, but I don't like nothing about politics. You know what I mean? I don't see a time where, first of all, it's a system. It's a system that's already, it's a systemic flaw. You know what I mean? Like everything about the system, all across the board, everything is flawed, and everything is set up for black people to be at the lowest part of the social economic scale. Period. You know what I mean? That's the reason why individually, as time progresses, we can individually accumulate riches or quote unquote riches, and still the wealth gap never closes because still America makes more money off the black community than the black community because they allow people to come in from different countries. They give them all kinds of money and you know what I'm saying, like privileges and shit like that, and allow them to come into our communities and build businesses. So all of our dollars just go straight out of our community, and their dollars circulate in theirs. You know what I mean? And then the fight is fixed on the highest levels of anything that you can think of involving just like ownership, redlining, or everything you can think of. You know what I mean? So politics, I mean, I think it's important to vote. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I don't think I would do so well just having to correspond with politically correct Negroes, man. Like I just don't think I could ever reach that level of maturity, man. I don't know if I have it in me.
No, okay, okay. I got another back channel, and I got a question for you. Then I'm gonna pass to you all out. Bev, she asks, your relationship with Lupe, is that going well, and are y'all planning on pursuing the season 2 of your podcast?
Nah, I mean, sorry to inform you, Bev. Like that didn't go well at all. You know what I mean? Like that, what you saw was basically the end of that. You know what I mean? But I love Lupe. I love Lupe. Like I wish him nothing but the best. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's necessarily necessary for all of us to just be friends. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to be able to coexist with one another in such close proximity, but we do have a responsibility to brotherhood. You know what I mean? Like I think it's a responsibility to wish each other well. You know what I mean? And it's no upside. It's no upside to him. You know, losing in any way. There's no upside in that for me. You know, a win for him is a win for me, just like it's a win for culture. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna continue to root for him. But nah, we not. We don't. There's no relationship. We definitely not doing the podcast.
Okay, and my question to you, bro, is DJ Premier. The first song I ever heard from you was "Boom," and I believe that was produced by DJ Premier, correct?
Correct.
Okay, that's dope. So, how did that relationship start, and are y'all planning on dropping another collab album?
Yeah,
It's
we
crazy. It's crazy. We just got off the phone right before I came in here. Right before I came in, I was speaking to Preem. But Preem, one of my friends in this shit. You know what I mean? Not industry friend, but just friend. You know what I'm saying? And it's like when I first reached out to him, it was when I was signed to Tommy Boy. And it was just one of my dreams was just to work with him. That was like one of my bucket list things. So we reached out, and he reached back and said, you know, like he open to doing it, but he need to hear me first. So we sent him a freestyle, Tony Touch freestyle, 50 MCs freestyle. He listened to it, he liked it, he agreed to go in. You know what I mean? So we went in, we did one, had a few phone conversations about some ideas, went in, did another one. You know what I mean? Like the relationship just kind of evolved over the years. You know, I never knew we would get this close. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know, it just kind of like turned into that. You know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much how we met, though. I reached out to him just as a fan, you know, to work with him, and it just kind of went from there.
Yo, what made you get into production? I noticed your last project you produced a few tracks.
Man, I spent a lot of time in the studio, and I made a joke. It's with Preem again. I was talking to Preem. I was talking shit, and I was like, man, you know what I'm gonna do, man? I'm gonna go buy Ableton. That's what I'm gonna do, because they always talking about Ableton. I'm gonna go buy Ableton. I'm gonna be on your ass, nigga. I'm going to buy Ableton. I went and bought Ableton. Came back. I called him. I said, I got Ableton. He was like, man, take that shit back. Take Ableton back. He told me, get an MPC. Ableton is gonna be too confusing for you your first time trying to learn how to use the software and make a beat. And he was correct. I looked at Ableton. I tried to learn how to use that shit. That shit looked like Chinese arithmetic. So I took it back. I got the MPC. Preem sat with me on FaceTime. I had some shows to do overseas. He sat with me on FaceTime and walked me through how to use it. I started using it. And then Mr. Porter showed me how to use Logic. Once I seen Logic and once I learned Logic, that's when I kind of fell in love with the process of trying to just learn. You know what I mean? Because I'm around so many decorated, masterful producers and beat makers. Mr. Porter, Bink, Knots, you know what I mean? Fucking everybody. Justice League, Just Blaze, Alchemist, you know what I mean? Like you name it. Like just different, a whole lot of different people to just do a whole lot of different things that I appreciate for so many different reasons. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I just, you know, and then I'm OCD. I'm an addict by nature, so I can sit and be hyper focused on my computer screen for hours at a time. So it was just like I got addicted to the process, whack loop after whack loop after whack loop until they just started sounding a little bit better. You
Wait, so
know,
two years ago when you dropped that album, though, that was your first time making beats ever? Because those were some pretty high quality, dope production on that album.
my nigga, those was the first beats I ever made.
Oh yeah, hey, props to
With
you.
I mean, with the exception of the garbage ones. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of garbage ones, but those were the first good ones that I ever made.
Who did Black Savage?
I did the whole album.
Oh shit. Oh yeah. What was your inspiration behind Black Savage? That's still in heavy rotation on my list till today.
Just you know how sometimes we take word. Well, only we could do this in our culture, in hip hop, in black culture. But we take words and we redefine them. You know what I'm saying? Like we re kind of colloquialize them. You know, so I took savage and just added a more of a positive connotation to it instead of it just being all negative. You know what I mean? Like you still be savage. You know what I'm saying? You still be savage, but it's just like gangster. It's gangster to take care of your family. It's gangster to be a father. It's gangster to you know loyalty is gangster. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
all of these things are gangster, and I feel like it's the same thing with Black Savage. Like I just look at it like black excellence. You know, like I look at Puff and Jay and all of these guys like they savages. They savages because you know that their counterparts and their contemporaries on that level that they're on don't wish them well. You know, you know what I mean? Like it was a producer that I was talking to, and he had some issues with some production that he did for Hove back in the day, and he was trying to go in litigation about it, and he was talking to a whole bunch of lawyers, and every time he would get a lawyer on the phone, and as soon as he tell them that it was about Hove, they would just hang up on him. Like they all scared to litigate against him. To me, that's savage. That's savage. You know, so when you think about that whole concept and that whole idea, and these guys that he got standing next to him that he came out from the mud with, you know what I mean? And he putting these guys in positions to be executives, and they were never executives. Emory just got out of prison, you know, and they running through these different corporations and they snatching up bags and they beating people over the head for even more money because it's them. You know what I'm saying? They dragging their nuts through this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I when I look at shit like that, I feel inspired and I get confused as to why niggas think that they have to be complicit. Why you think you got to be complicit? Why do niggas think that they got to play a game? Like I'm playing a game, I want to win. You can't play their game because that game is set up for you to fail. You can't play their game. You can't adopt their ideologies. You can't take on their business practices. You can't do shit like blackball a nigga. The fuck? Who taught where that come from?
Right.
We don't know nothing about no blackballing. Like, nigga, ain't nobody. None of our uncles ain't teach us how to blackball nobody. I wish I would blackball a nigga. I'm either fuck with him or I don't. But I gotta wish him well. Like we ain't afforded the luxury of taking steps to fuck up a nigga's livelihood. I'd rather just do something to you. But I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna take away the things that make you a tangible, productive motherfucker in our same community because all of those L's affect us as one. You know what I mean? As many subgenres and different categories and shit that we choose to put ourselves in. You know, back in the day, right after slavery was abolished, the first thing niggas did was they jumped into different categories of colorism. It was all these different words that they was using, mulatto, fucking octorant, and all of these fucking different ways of describing their complexion. And like the dark skinned ones were the ones that would look down on. So the white people would be looking at niggas and laughing like these niggas actually think that it's a hierarchy to niggas. None of y'all will ever be on our level and we will always look down on y'all. But it was already ingrained in us. You know what I'm saying? So it would be in certain schools, darker skinned kids either wouldn't be allowed access or they would be treated different based off them being darker. You know what I mean? And they called themselves the Blue Vein Society. And they used to brag about their blue veins showing and then your dark pigment covering up your blue veins. It's a wild shit, man.
Crazy.
Nah,
You know what I
fact.
mean? And I feel like the culture is a lot like that, but it's really no hierarchy, bro. Listen, I don't care if you a millionaire and another nigga is a thousandaire. If your $1 million worth of grinding is not helping to close that wealth gap that's staying exactly the same and it has been the exact same, then it's just slave labor still. It's just on a higher scale. You know what I'm saying? So it's like until it's a community way of doing it, and niggas stop competing with each other, then we always gonna be on the receiving end. Even in the culture that we control, we dominate.
Yeah, I think it's more like now, like we're like in a hole with technology. So it's like people look for validation on the internet instead of in real life.
Yeah, well, I mean that's another problem. That's a whole nother conversation. But I think black people searching for validation in general, especially in our culture where we are the ones who will validate some shit. We'll lend we'll lend all the integrity and all of everything to an award foundation. We'll lend them all their credibility just by attending and engaging. And then when we don't get the award, like we heartbroken. You know what I'm saying? Like
Facts.
it's like it don't even really line up. You know what I mean? Like, and then it's an even deeper thing because it's just like how do you expect somebody who don't understand you to be able to articulate what it is that you are and salute you properly? Why are we depending on people to do that? Like we got to break ourselves of that. We got to start saluting our own because we the only ones who can do that properly. You know what I mean? Like it ain't the Grammys' fault that Nas is just now getting the Grammy. It's our fault. It should have been some sort of it should have been some sort of cultural award that held the same aesthetic quality with the same budgeting and everything that you see with all of these other award shows, ran by us, controlled by us, where our legends and great ones is being saluted properly because
Do you
roses from each other. There is no higher fucking award that you can receive than love by your own culture.
No, that's a fact. We're gonna pass it to All Out. After All Out, I'm gonna pass it to FN, and then I got another question for you, Royce. Go ahead, All Out.
Yeah, I want to say rest in peace to the legendary Proof. What was your relationship with Proof? I understand y'all had a little altercation because you know the little altercation between y'all. Well, if everybody know hip hop, then everybody know. What was your relationship with him, and how did you feel when he passed? And how would you describe Proof as a person?
Proof's family, man, family. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't an altercation. It was an argument, it was a dispute. You know what I'm saying? When he passed, I mean, first of all, we was able to, thank God, put it behind us and squash it and talk, communicate. You know what I mean? Like me and him got to do that before me and Marshall got to speak. You know what I mean? We end up going out on the road with each other. Like we actually spent that night that we ran into each other. We both went to jail, so we spent that night, both of us just in jail, like two dumbasses, just talking about just how things can escalate. If you don't get out ahead of it. It could start with just some feelings between, two niggas just disagreeing on something that ain't really everybody's business, but it's something that's it's it's cool or it's fun, it's sensationalized. So you end up with a bunch of motherfuckers speaking that don't need to be speaking. And then, you step away from your computer for 5 minutes. Next thing you know, you in World War fucking three. Because everybody then instigated everything to the highest level of, toxicity. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is like, for the most part, when we young, we sit there and we just watch it grow. Nobody's willing to take the step out there and say, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So in me and Proof's case, we didn't start asking each other those questions until we was actually in handcuffs. So then it was like, once we was in handcuffs, then it was like, what are we doing? But that's what it should have been. You know what I mean? So I learned a lot from that situation. So when he passed, it was just like one of our messiahs, one of our pharaohs gone, gone too soon. You know what I mean? And it happened around real close to around the time that Blade got killed too. So it was just like two back to back, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Like it was two huge L's for the city. You know what I mean? Because Proof was really, and you feel it a lot in his absence. He was really one of the only bridges between hip hop and the streets in Detroit. You know what I mean? Like he had this gift of being able to corral a lot of different kinds of niggas and get them to coexist with each other comfortably. You know, he was an excellent bridge, and I think he understood that. So he took on that responsibility and he did it well. You know what I mean? He's the one who put Marshall around Trick, and he put Marshall around Rock Bottom and T Stucky and all of these niggas. You know what I'm saying? That Marshall never would have even met. He never would have had the opportunity to meet. You know what I mean? And you know, like Trick ended up with a hit record out of that. That Welcome to Detroit City. That shit is a classic. You know what I mean? And it's just a testament to what can happen if niggas are like of the thinking of bridging gaps and continuing to connect people with each other and continue to just keep building on what niggas already got. Because they could have took their ball and went home. D12 could have took their ball and went home. They triple platinum every time. They had to fuck with nobody. You know what I mean? So I think that was a great thing, and I think Proof kind of embodied that. And I don't think we bounced back since then. I don't think we've been able to effectively kind of like do that since then. Like he, you know, like kind of like how he had it.
Thank you for answering that. Do you think that that elevated him? Do you think that like put another fire under him after Proof passing?
Mm, I'm sure it did on some level, you know, but I'm sure it took away a lot of fire, you know. Like I'm sure it took some of the air out the balloon. You know what I mean? Like he been running. They've been running since '93. You know what I mean? They've been running like damn near inseparable. You know, I've had conversations with him, and I don't mind. I don't usually like to repeat him or speak for him, but I don't mind telling this because he's so proud about it when he says it. But he always tells me that he feels like if it wasn't for Proof, he wouldn't even be where he is because Marshall used to come to the city, man. He used to have a high top fade with the parts in it, with the fucking big baggy jeans with the rips in them, you know, talking black and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and niggas wasn't feeling that, so they used to be jumping him and shit. So Proof was the one that was just like, yo, just leave him alone, man. Just give him a chance. Like he can rap because he was getting booed off the stage and shit like that. He dealt with a lot just trying to be accepted into our culture. You know what I'm saying? Because it was just like, I guess that's kind of like what we do, right? We feel like we got to do as the Romans do. We got to give you what we think you want. You know what I mean? And he probably thought that we wanted the white guy who act black. You know what I'm saying? But when he finally just matured a little bit and came into his own and was just being himself and talked like himself and just told his true, authentic story, I mean, shit, he was off to the races. Say goodnight. It's a wrap. It's over. You know what I mean? That's why I say you'll never see that shit again. So as far as like the power structure and all of that, ain't no power structure, bro. Ain't no power structure. If there was a power structure, then make another one. I challenge any power structure out there to make another one. Illuminati, what's the other ones y'all like sensationalizing? Make another one. Find a fat white battle rapper from Detroit, from a black city that can become an iconic superstar, actor, and producer, and lyricist that's respected by all the lyricists you respect. You ain't never gonna see that again, ever.
Nope, absolutely not.
Facts.
Definitely ain't seeing that again. M is
You ain't
one of
gotta
a
like
kind.
it. You ain't gotta like it because it ain't for everybody. But you ain't never gonna see it again, bro.
I be hearing a lot of people saying that M is not in the top five, and that to me is crazy.
She definitely ain't mine. I'm sorry, but he definitely ain't mine.
Yeah, that shit
I'm
is that's subjective. You know what I mean? Like I never argue with nobody about their opinion on music. You know what I mean? Like people just like what they like. You know what I mean? Like it ain't. I don't think that there's a such thing as a piece of art or a, a artist that's relatable to all. I mean, I feel like it can be promoted to look that way, but I don't think in reality that there's a such thing. You know, so the thought that you have to like pander to all these different kinds of people and just be so safe that everybody just likes you and all of that shit, you know, that's a dangerous game to play. You know, the employee of the people game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't work for the people. I'm not. This ain't Burger King. You can't have it your way. I'm gonna put paint on the canvas. I'm gonna hang the canvas up, and I'm gonna invite whoever in to look at it. You're more than welcome to come in and look at it. If you don't want to come in, that's fine too. I don't feel a way about that. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be okay with people not being okay with some things. That's got to be okay to you. You can't just be like people pleasing across the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never really seen that work for anybody.
Can't please
Yo,
everybody.
Facts.
yo, a while back,
Love.
Um.
it was talks of you hopping on that battle stage. Is that still something that's in consideration?
Good question.
Nah, I'm not even considering it no more, man. After the Lupe thing, man, I just can't. I don't even have the energy for it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
because I never been so misquoted and misunderstood, and I never dealt with so much narrative twisting and gossiping and all of it. I ain't dealt with shit like that since probably like high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just don't think that space is meant to be scaled scaled to a mainstream stage, because I feel like that the core audience that enjoys battle rap, they they embrace it, they love it, and they don't want you to come touching it and fucking making it all shiny. You know what I mean? Like, it's a certain way that they want it to look. They prefer it to look, and I just don't think it's even fair to start stomping all through there trying to, you know what I mean? Like, trying to break something, touch something, or fix something that's not broke. You know what I mean? And I just don't, the way that they think over on that side, the way that some of the battle rappers carry themselves, not all of them, but some of them carry themselves, like how they just be like, yo, man, it's just rap. Can't be taking shit all serious. It's just rap. It's just like, I just don't, first of all, I don't like having conversations with people where, well, we can't have a realistic conversation. We got to be like-minded on some level, you know? And it's cool if you feel that way. Actually, I think it's interesting. I'd rather consider it interesting from afar. It ain't never been just rap. It's never been a time in the history of hip hop, not in Detroit, where it's been just rap. Everything that come out of my brain and my heart is I'm emotionally attached to. I'm gonna feel the way about. I'm a Cancer. I don't have no problem admitting that I'm emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't play about my art. I don't play about like respect, and I don't play about men treating each other with respect and not crossing those boundaries. There never should be a time where it's okay for us to disrespect each other, all for the sake of it's just rap. I don't understand that concept, and I never will. So I just felt like I wasn't really a good fit over there, and I don't want to fall out with nobody or be, diametrically opposed to nobody in a negative way. So the shit just didn't seem to suit me. So I just, kind of went away from it.
Speaking of battle rap, Royce, before I pass it to you, FN, I do want to give y'all flowers with the total slaughter. I don't know if you would agree with this, but y'all put battle rap in a mainstream light because URL, if you know, they now with caffeine and they trying to do everything mainstream. But I feel like y'all was the first to do it at a high level, so I definitely want to give y'all flowers for that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
Thanks.
Appreciate
So I'm gonna pass it to FN.
Oh, what's good with y'all? Appreciate you, T Rose. Appreciate the Trollz Nation for having this room. Hey, Royce, I appreciate your impact on the culture. Appreciate everything you do. I'm
Thank you,
actually,
sir.
I'm actually a sneaker designer, and I wanted to ask if I could get a pair of my sneakers to you. But before you answer, I wanted to just, give you a quick synopsis of what they're about. The symbol on the side of my sneakers is actually an African symbol for justice, and it's a depiction of handcuffs. So, I like to promote positivity, morality, and culture with my brand. My brand is called From Nothing. And yeah, my I have a bunch of different designs and silhouettes. This is just actually the first sneaker I ever designed and put out, which was on my birthday in August. But yeah, I would love to send you a pair. I'm a huge fan of yours. I appreciate your impact. And yeah, that's my question.
All right, well, shit. Thank you for those words, man. And of course, I would love to have them, man. Can you hit me on the back channel, and we can
Yeah.
just we can link after we finish with the room. And where you based out of?
I'm actually based in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I'm from Philly.
Okay. You got a pair? You got a pair yet ready that you can send me?
Yeah, I got see the pairs I have ready right now is these ones right now on my PTR. I actually have those on hand, and I'm about to drop a blue pair of these called the FN1 Goats. Go out and try. Yeah, I'm about to actually
You
drop
in the
Okay.
that one.
matrix.
Just called. That's the next one I'm about to drop, which is blue. But I do have these salmon and rices on hand.
Okay. All right. Well, shit. I love to have him, my brother.
I appreciate you, brother. I'm a DM you right now in the back channel.
My man. Good luck to you too, man.
I appreciate you, brother, and I appreciate that.
No
Oh
facts.
shit.
Those are fire, bro.
Definitely
Those are
want to
nice
support.
sneakers, bro.
Uh,
FN nice
they pretty
sneakers, bro.
good. They,
Yeah.
Oh
Hey,
yeah,
listen.
I
they
appreciate that,
nice.
y'all. Seriously,
We
I appreciate
definitely
that, man. I
we
appreciate
definitely want to
everybody
make
that's
sure we support black businesses here at Trollz Nation, any way, shape, or form we can. So I definitely want to put that out there as well. FN, shout out to you, Royce. My question to you, bro, and I want to take this back to Detroit. With you doing your thing, Eminem, D12, Obi Trice, man, Marv One, like a lot of these rappers, y'all did y'all thing. Who do you think, far as these younger artists in Detroit, that you would feel are worthy enough to carry the torch?
I mean, shit. They are worthy of carrying the torch. I mean, they're showing that. They're showing that. Babyface Ray is doing the Roots picnic in June. You know what I'm saying? I think Icewear Vezo, he was signed to Motown, but I think he got another deal on the table now. He moving on to a different major. You know, shit, they all doing all kind of branding deals, and the whole world is kind of like paying attention to them. It's a lot of young rappers biting their style. You know, Empire built the entire department just geared toward Detroit rap. You know, so I mean, shit, if that ain't carrying the torch, I don't know what. That's all the signs I need to see.
Hey, yo, Royce, I had a question. You want to do some like artist development or sign some artists in the future?
Yeah, and yeah, but 2 different years. Like sign some artists in the future. I'm gonna move a little slower with that, just because I never want to be that guy that kind of like got somebody sitting, because I'm not able to give them the attention that they need from me. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of being as honest as I can be with myself, just about where I'm at, some of the things that I still want to achieve, like creatively, some of the things that I want to do. I still want to be able to do those things with impunity. You know what I mean? As far as developing artists, that's more my speed. You know what I mean? I do that even when I'm not calling it that. Like, it's mentorship. You know what I mean? Like, I open the doors of my studio. I let a lot of youngins come in here, and they develop and they benefit from being here in the brotherhood even more than they know. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of the conversations is being had, a lot of things is being taught. It's kind of like more important than how well they can make music, because they're gonna improve musically always. Like, my thing is focus on self, try to understand self as early as possible, and then start figuring out how to make improvements on self. Because if you can always improve on self, then everything gonna always improve. You can never fall off musically if you don't fall off as a human. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't get stuck in human evolution, then you'll never get stuck creatively, because you'll always have a new perspective. You'll always have a fresh perspective, and you'll always be sharp. It's a cerebral sport. We can last as long as we allow ourselves to. It's a lifestyle. So I'm just kind
Thank
of
you.
into that side. Yep.
Appreciate it, bro. And also, you guys did have the legendary group in hip hop history, bro. Slaughterhouse for sure.
Appreciate that, bro.
All right, Royce, I got two more questions, bro. Then we can go ahead and close it out, man. This has been a dope ass Q&A. I know we can go on longer, you feel me? But we definitely want to hold you, so I'm gonna ask you two more questions that we can go ahead and close it.
All right.
My first question. I know you seen the Super Bowl halftime show, so I got two questions. What did you think about the halftime show? And when the NFL told Eminem that he can't take a kneel, but he did it anyway, he took a knee. Did that surprise you, knowing that's M?
No, it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me. What did surprise me though is the backlash that the halftime show received from like NFL and the white and some of the white NFL fans, like the patriotic type. I don't know what even how to even classify them, but definitely racist is fuck. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, okay, y'all giving the black community too much now. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize how near and dear to their hearts that they held that institution, the NFL, because I stopped kind of following it a long time ago when I started noticing like little shit that they were doing that just wasn't cool to our community. So I never really followed it like that. But yeah, their reaction spoke volumes. You know what I mean? So I think it's cool that he kneeled in that moment where, you know, white people was just kind of like against that many black people being on stage, you know, during their beloved NFL halftime show. So I was glad that he did that. Um, but I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised if they told him he couldn't kneel or if not. I mean, I've seen something that said that they didn't tell him that. I don't know what's true and what's not. I ain't talked to Marshall about it, but I'm glad he kneeled though.
Actually, Dre did a video today and he said that it's not true. They already knew it was his choice to do it, but they knew he was going to kneel.
There you go.
So he said it in a video. It was just recently released.
TMZ, right?
No, I don't know if it was TMZ. I
Somebody
saw
told
the
me something.
video. I saw a clip of him saying that maybe it was TMZ.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a brief clip and he says no. He says it was his choice, but they did not tell him he could not do it. They knew he was going to do it. So I think it
Yeah.
was interesting that that whole narrative was placed out there. I mean,
Yeah.
brilliant promotion wise because everybody's like going to tune in to see if he defies it.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds like some PR shit, but I don't know, man. It's like the internet now. So it's like people on social media sometimes they create shit out of out of thin blue air, out of the clear blue sky. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. But nonetheless, I appreciate the gesture. You know what I mean? I appreciate the gesture. I love seeing Snoop's hitting the blunt backstage on its way coming out. You know what I mean? I love the fact that Mary been around for so long and she still looked beautiful.
Killed it.
You know what I mean? So she still sound great. Everybody was up there looking rich and healthy. I feel like our culture is the first culture where our legends and our great ones are gonna grow older and be on some of those stages like the Rolling Stones and the Eagles and shit like that, except not looking like a shell of their former selves. This is the first culture to push mental health, wealth, independence, generational wealth. You know what I mean? Like we the first culture to do any of these things. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of proud of that. So I don't really like when we lend energy to those kinds of platforms that don't always mean as well. I'm not really with getting on those stages at all. But shit, if they must do it, they might as well do it the way that they did it. Jay-Z made them sit down with him because he was the guy standing between them and viewership, and he curated a show for the culture. If you must do it that way, then shit, I'm a root for it. Cap don't got a job. I don't like that part of it either. You know what I mean? But hey, man, I'll take what I can get at this point.
No facts. And my last questions, because we do got a lot of musicians, man, on Clubhouse. We probably got a lot of them in this room as well. I seen that you did an interview with the Hip Hop Lab, and you were speaking on the industry and these contracts, and you said the worst thing that somebody can do is quit or give up. Oh no, I think I said no. Yeah, you said the worst thing you can do is do nothing or quit. Can you expound on that?
I think I think you may be talking about when I said the only real mistake you can make is to quit. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like that's a fact. Like as afraid of making mistakes as we are, and we gonna make some that we gonna feel like it's the end of the world when we make them. It's gonna feel like the worst shit in the world, and then you'll be able to look back on it and then realize it wasn't so bad. You know what I mean? Like it's a learning curve. Sometimes when we don't know the steps to take because we don't have mentorship or somebody to kind of guide us and advise us, it's trial and error and we so scared to fuck up. It's like playing Frogger, you know what I mean? Like you're on the side of the freeway and them cars is zipping by fast and you just scared to jump out there. But the only way to win is to get to the other side. You got to get out there in traffic, and you're gonna get hit by some cars. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes when you don't know the next step to take, that's paralyzing. You know, just the thought of just the fear of the unknown will paralyze you. It would make you afraid to take steps, and it'll make you do nothing. You'll just sit and contemplate and contemplate and contemplate. Next thing you know, you look up, 5 years and went by. You know what I mean? So the fear just got to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to be fearless, man. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be fearless. So I think that's probably what I was saying.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Um, thank you for your time, T Rose. Thank you for letting me use this platform, Rose. I'm gonna hit you on the back channel. Really would like to get more involved in the community with you in Detroit. I'll fly out there. I like all that, and appreciate you, bro. I'm gonna hit you on the back channel. Thank you.
Appreciate you too, my bro.
No, facts, man. Royce, we definitely appreciate you here, man. Trollz Nation, bro. This was an honor. Uh, shit, we, man, beyond grateful. Like, this is one of the ones. Like I said, this is something that I've been wanting to do forever, bro. And I'm glad you came to the platform and you gave us a chance to sit down and do this Q&A with you.
Man, it's all love and respect, man. It's an honor. It's an honor to come through, man. Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate all the kind words. Appreciate y'all listening. Appreciate all the dope questions, man. Definitely got to do it again sometime. But I love what y'all doing, man. Keep on doing what y'all doing.